Good evening, everyone. I welcome all of you in the gallery. We have a very full gallery this evening, so you're most welcome to attend our meeting. And also those online, I welcome you as well. The public is advised that it is council policy to record the proceedings of meetings of council on digital media in the preparation of minutes and to ensure that a true and accurate account of debate and discussion of meetings is available. The audio recording is authorised by the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2025, and I declare the meeting open right on 6 o'clock. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Tomagina people, and to pay our respect to those that have passed before us, their history and their culture. Item 1, record of attendance. Item 2, confirmation of the previous minutes. You have seen a copy of the minutes, councillors, and the recommendation is that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the Waratah Wynyard Council held at Council Chambers, 21 Saunders Street, Wynyard, on Monday, 20th of July, a copy of which, having been previously circulated to councillors prior to the meeting, be confirmed as a true and correct record. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Roberts has moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Courtney is seconded. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Anything that needs to be identified for discussion at this point of the meeting? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 3, declarations of interest. Councillors, are there any councillors that have a declaration of interest that needs to be Councillor Bramage?
8.2 and 8.3. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for that. Any other councillors have a conflict of interest? Staff, any staff members with a conflict of interest this evening? No, thank you. We shall move on. Item 4, councillors' announcements and report. 4.1, announcements by the Mayor. As Mayor and on behalf of the councillors and staff of Waratah Wynyard Council, I extend our heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of our much valued colleague, Councillor Kevin Hyland, following his passing. For 24 years, Councillor Hyland has been a dedicated servant of our council and community, and whose commitment, leadership and contribution to local government will be long remembered and greatly appreciated. His loss will be deeply felt by fellow councillors, council staff and the wider community he served with distinction. Councillor Hyland did not seek notoriety. Rather, Councillor Hyland sought to be heard loudly for the people. As a community leader, Councillor Hyland did not just tell the people what they needed. Instead, he strongly cultivated a culture of where every voice matters. As a respected leader and role model, Councillor Hyland mentored new councillors and inspired them to have confidence in their abilities and contribute meaningfully to their community. Councillor Hyland's genuine commitment to Waratah Wynyard is evident in the strong working relationship he shared with fellow long-serving Councillor Bramage. Together, and over many years, they undertook numerous visits throughout the municipality, carefully assessing the status of roads, road verges, community buildings and other public infrastructure, always with the interests of the community at heart. During his time on Waratah Wynyard Council, Councillor Hyland served on several council committees, including the Waratah Community Board, Wynyard Showgrounds Working Group and Boat Harbour Beach Master Plan Working Group. Councillor Hyland was a deeply committed volunteer, and his significant and long-term involvement leaves an indelible mark on organisations such as the Wynyard Bird Club, Wynyard Lions Club, Wynyard Rotary Club, Wynyard Football Club, the Wynyard Show Society, and as past president of the Yolla Football Club. Councillor Hyland is also well known for the visionary establishment of the Lobster Ponds Haven on Robin Hill Road. Councillor Hyland built this social enterprise through his love of our local environment and, in particular, the unique learning experience it had to offer about the protected Tasmanian giant freshwater crayfish, which is the largest freshwater invertebrate in the world. On this site, Councillor Hyland also established a facility to house orange-bellied parrots, one of the world's absolute rarest birds and critically endangered species. What an astounding vision. Over my 21 years on Waratah Wynyard Council, I valued Councillor Hyland's insights and advice, even if I did not always take them on board. And I always knew when I was in for a roasting whenever he would begin a conversation with, "What is going on?" While we shared many heated debates over the years, we maintained a relationship built on trust and respect, and I greatly valued his knowledge, his experience, his friendship, and his commitment to our community. When Councillor Hyland passed away, he was still an elected representative of our community, and that means he will always be known as Councillor Kevin Hyland. Rest in peace, Councillor Kevin Hyland. Item 4.2, my communications recommendation before you. Could I have a mover for this motion, please? So that was you.
So moved, yeah.
I'll second that.
Councillor Raw, seconded. Are there any questions around the communications that have been listed this evening? If not, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Item 4.3, reports by delegates. None have been received. 4.4, notification of council workshops. The recommendation is that council notes the following workshops. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Roberts. Could I have a seconder? Councillor Johnson. Are there any comments, queries surrounding this motion, please? If not, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. We now come to item 5, public questions and statements. 5.1, responses to public questions taken on notice. 5.1.1, Mr Ewington, Christmas decorations. 5.1.2, Mr McCurlin, youth matters. And 5.1.3, Mr McCurlin, parking in CBD. That brings us to 5.2, public questions received in writing. We have not received any in writing, but public questions without notice. And I will read out a statement from this council. The council encourages community participation in its meetings through the opportunity for public questions and statements. Consistent with council's core values, councillors and staff strive to ensure all people are treated with respect and integrity. We expect our residents and ratepayers to apply similar standards in their dealings with council. As Mayor, it is my responsibility to maintain the orderly conduct of council meetings and to ensure that the meeting is conducted in accordance with the council meeting procedures. This includes determining whether a question or statement is out of order due to the use of offensive, objectionable or defamatory expressions. In particular, the council meeting procedures relating to public questions and statements require that there is a time limit of 3 minutes per person to ask questions. A maximum of 3 questions may be asked per person. Any parts to questions are considered, questions, or questions to be asked before a response is provided. Once a question is answered, there is to be no debate on that question. Public statements are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person, and there is to be no questions or discussion related to a statement. I ask members of the public to show proper consideration and courtesy in their comments. So, Mr McCurlin, would you like to come forward? You have a statement and 3 questions.
That's right, statement and 3 questions. My first statement is relating to Councillor Kevin Hyland. The past week saw the community gather to farewell a great community and family man, Councillor Kevin Hyland, who passed away on the 1st of August. Kevin was a friend and a long-standing, passionate colleague in our tourism community. The astonishing crowd at his service was no surprise to anyone who witnessed the incredible work Kevin poured into Waratah Wynyard and beyond. When Cindy and I first arrived in Wynyard all those years ago, having just bought a rundown motel by the water, Kevin was one of the first to truly welcome us. He took us out in his big blue truck at the time to Waratah, all around the area, showing us every site along the way and introducing us to the vast potential of tourism in this region. He handed over tourism strategies and plans, ensuring when you're just working in the industry but truly connected to its future. And that's where my journey in the industry began and remains. Kevin was an absolute champion for our region's potential. He dedicated endless hours to the Tulip Festival and countless other events. He was the driving force behind the stamping mill in Waratah, shining a much needed spotlight on the community and its opportunities to shine as a unique historical tourism gem. He was also a man who put his money where his mouth was, resurrecting the Lobster Pond Cafe and creating a sanctuary to the world's largest freshwater crayfish. By building this wonderful space, he helped protect an endangered species while educating visitors on their importance to our local ecosystem. You can't protect what you don't know. And thanks to Kevin's passion, our regional visitors and we all came to know these amazing creatures a little bit more. Across several roles across the local municipality, Waratah Wynyard Council, Cradle Coast Authority and beyond, Chair, Councillor, Deputy Mayor, Mayor, President, Tourism Operator. Kevin was an unwavering supporter of tourism, not just in our municipality, but right along the coast. He was a community leader with passion and perseverance who never stopped advocating for this region's potential. On behalf of the tourism industry, thank you, Kevin, for everything you did. Thank you for your advocacy and for being the ultimate champion of what this region can be. Vale Councillor Highland, your legacy very much alive in the spirit of our regional's tourism industry.
Thank you, Mr. McQuillan. You have 3 questions.
Yes, I have 3 questions. My first one is relating to item 9.15. Like many ratepayers, I was alarmed to find that the early rate reduction was removed without any consultation by council or councillors with the ratepayers who used this discount to pay their rates early. I'm not sure if councillors were briefed on the value and the impact of the removal of the rate discount. When this became public knowledge, a reply was posted on Facebook explaining it and then talking points at the last community conversation. While reading the agenda tonight, I noticed in that item 9.15, the financial reports on page 126, the actual value of the discount for 25-26, which was only $131,083. Using my basic arithmetic, that works out to less than 1% of the total rates, 0.834 to be exact, on your rates of 15.7 million. I also noticed that your general rates levies have gone up by 1.6 million in the 26-27 year, nearly 10% on 25-26. So early discount impact could be even less than 1%. Yet the information put out by council was saying the cost of the early discount would require an additional 2.55% increase in general rates and based on a projected amount of double the 2025 figure. My question is, how did you get that figure? The simple calculation that I did based on last year is only 0.834%. Could we have the discount data for the last 3 years as a percentage of total rates levied and an understanding of how your calculations were derived and your assumption? Our community deserves some rate relief from inflation and rising costs. That's my first question. My second question is relating to the watershed. Can you give an update on the lease of the watershed? It has been over a year since Big Heart's lease was not renewed and they vacated the premises. Could the premises be made available for community groups or enterprises at cost? My last one is relating to the item 9.11, the quarterly report, infrastructure and development services. I note on page 92 and in detail in the attachments is a report about council's carbon footprint. I have a strong interest in this as my business is involved in carbon accounting and aiming to reduce our own carbon footprint. From my reading of the report, it looks like Scope 1 emissions have increased by 75% from the 2021 baseline. It does not necessarily represent like for like, but it is concerning that it's that far out. I note that at 3,468 tonnes of carbon emitted for Scope 1, what is the council does not have a clear pathway to achieving council's net target by 2030. My question is, can you provide a list of actions that the council is undertaking or endorsed to achieve a reduction in carbon emissions from the height of 3,468 tonnes to meet the target by 2030? If this could show the goals for the next 4 years, that would be good.
Thank you, Mr. McCurlin. Your first two questions were could possibly be answered by Mr. Smith.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Yes. So the figure that you referenced there of $131,000 for the early payment discount for last year, that is the figure that's in the agenda, and that's as at the 31st of July. So that figure hasn't, the discount runs through to the 31st of August. That figure is only an interim figure as at the end of 31 July 2025. So the figure for the cost of the discount in the 25-26 financial year was $359,000, and we've estimated that figure to be similar in the 26-27 year if we had maintained that discount. In terms of the number of ratepayers that take that discount up over the last 3 years, it's averaged 67% in 23-24, 68% in 24-25, then last year at 67.7. So it's been fairly consistent in that 65 to 70% range of ratepayers that took up that early payment discount. The figure that you referenced, or that we put out in our media information around the cost if we had to maintain the discount of 2.55%, that is based on the actual cost of the discount being $358,000 and an estimated impact on interest if we remove the discount, and that's how we come up with the figure of 2.55% would be the impact or equivalent increase in the general rate we would have had to make if we had maintained the early payment discount. So that's
The second question was about the watershed.
Yes, so the watershed, council's been working with Elders as a partner over the last 12 months, seeking a commercial tenant for the Watershed Cafe at the Yacht Club. To date, we've been unsuccessful in gaining a commercial tenant. We've worked with a number of different prospective tenants who have submitted inquiries and an application to seek to rent that premises, but to date we've been unsuccessful. We're continuing to work with Elders. We've currently got that marketed at the moment for available for lease. In the last month or so, there's been a number of inquiries that we're currently working through and following up with those prospective tenants. But at this stage, it is still council's intent to seek a commercial tenant for that space, as it was intended when council originally built the building. So it's still the intent to seek a commercial tenant for that space at this stage.
Thank you, Mr. Summers. The carbon footprint, Mr. Summers, please.
Yep, through you, Mayor. At the report later in council at 9/11, there is a recommendation associated with the update of the carbon footprint. The attached report and the contents of the report talk about the two measurements, point strongly to improving the way the data is captured. The audit undertaken was done so purely based on a cost measure, but there are more accurate ways to do so. The recommendation is that through an evidence-based assessment, actions are devised to look at and revise that 2030 target, so that there isn't a list of actions to point to at this point, other than the key sources of that carbon footprint being largely things like our own fuels used by suppliers and contractors, are some of the main categories that sit at the top.
Thank you, Mr. Summers. So moving on, Mr. Wells, you have a public statement and two questions.
So do we have to do it in, and do the questions have to come first, or?
Oh, whatever is easiest for you.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I had two questions. Well, the first one was about, also in regards to the rate deduction not being carried again through to this year. It's been there for numerous, at least 2 decades that I'm aware of. I don't know back past that. And after what Mitchell said, I've changed my question a bit, because it was if it's nearly 2/3 of the people that are paying their rates up front, I don't see why. My question is, why did council vote to take that away when you're going to upset 2/3 of the community pretty much?
Okay.
Because I haven't yet talked to anyone that's happy
Just
with
ask
it.
Mr Smith if you would like to respond to that.
Yeah, so it certainly was a difficult decision that council considered as part of its budget in 26 for the 26-27 budget. Council considered a number of different options with the early payment discount, and ultimately landed at the decision to remove that discount rather than increase the general rate by a higher amount than the 4.9% that we did in 26-27, and that was an assessment that I suppose council came to that decision, and that's the decision they've made, recognising that it is difficult, that there's nearly 70% of ratepayers do take up that early payment discount, but that's the decision that council ultimately made.
Thank you.
And
Second question.
the second question was in regards to Mount Hicks Road. Why the council went against the recommendation to not change that speed limit?
Mr Summers, do you have a response for that, or?
Through you, Mayor, not particularly. I'd just point to the fact that the matter's listed for consideration tonight at 9.8. So.
Thank you.
And
You have a public statement
I
as
do have
well.
a statement. I'd like to say that that's a beautiful gesture in the centre of the room. No one's probably said that yet, but that's really nice that's there for Councillor Hyland. Yeah. My statement reads as follows. I'd like to acknowledge the contribution, dedication, service to this community that Mayor Dunham, Councillor Bramage and Councillor Hyland have provided with over 70 years combined service. This leaves a massive dent in Wynyard Waratah and the broader community. I speak for many in saying thank you. In regards to speed limit changes, I strongly believe there should be more community consultation before such decisions, as illustrated by all the feedback received by council on current changes, with some of the roads being well known and used not only for motorcycle and special interest vehicle tourism to our municipality, but these changes also affect other people outside our municipality. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Mr Whiteway. You have 3 questions this evening.
First question is missing determination records. Council has confirmed in writing that it is unable to locate the planning permit application form containing the completed determination fields of DA 145-2018. Can the council confirm whether the records were never completed, has since been lost or deleted, or simply cannot presently be located? And what documents council relies upon as a formal record for the delegated discussions approving DA 145-2018?
Thank you. We'll take that question on notice.
Yep. Question 2, this is to the Deputy Mayor Edwards. At the July council meeting, you did not support the Councillor Courtney's motion seeking action for respiratory crystalline silica in the Wynyard community. Only 1 month later, council is now considering another proposal for community silica testing. Can you please explain what new evidence, information or circumstances have arisen since the July meeting that has caused your position on community silica testing to change?
We'll take that one on notice as well. Thank you.
Question 3, the Calder waste silica monitoring. TAM has transported thousands of tonnes of waste silica at approved waste deposits in the Calder area over many years. The relevant environmental permit requires measuring including dust control, dampening of waste, covering or controlling loads, vehicle cleaning and covering deposit silica to prevent wind in the wind. Can council advise whether any ambient monitoring, airborne dust or respiratory crystalline silica monitoring has ever been undertaken at or around the call to waste disposal sites or along the transport route? And if not, what evidence has the council relied upon to satisfy itself that residents and neighbouring properties have not been exposed to airborne respiratory crystalline silica from the transport handling and depositing of the material?
Thank you for that question. I believe we should investigate, so therefore we will take it on notice again.
Thank you.
And we have Mr. Stitz from the, he's the president of Waratah Wynyard.
Hello.
You have a statement about the Athenaeum Hall and you've got 3 questions as well.
Yes, that's correct.
I'll go with your statement first.
We'll just go straight to the 3 questions.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Why is the Tarkine Interpretation Centre, which is commonly known as the Athenaeum Hall, turned into a community group meeting place? And the second one is, well, I'm going to wait for you to. You want me to run through more?
Are you able to respond to that or you wish to take it on notice?
No, I'll respond.
Okay, thank you.
In general terms, the council welcomes the greatest flexible use of all of our assets where it's able to be done. So the hall has never been restricted for use. We welcome different uses and it has a flat floor and a stage. So we welcome conversations with any group that wishes to use one of these assets, beautiful heritage hall.
Fair call. Second question is, which I witnessed myself, the destruction of some of the historical furniture that was taken to the dump by the community group that's actually in the Athenaeum Hall, including pianos that were there when it was a dance hall from 100 years ago, pews that were smashed to pieces.
Okay, I'll pass that question to Mr. Cattermole again. Thank you.
So this matter came across my desk today, but I don't have any details, so I have reached out to find out what are the facts of the matter, and I'll be following that up.
Yeah. So the community group, you said, is okay to be in the Athenaeum Hall. It was originally a tourism centre and used by the museum to, as tourists came into town, they would be able to go into the hall, see the magnificent, they were talking about stamper making before. I mean, it's all part of the one thing for tourists. So the question is, why isn't the community group meeting place not with the other community groups at the Elmer Fagan Community Centre? So at the moment you have the Waratah wood shops and the Waratah men's shed there. And there's plenty of room for more community groups to join.
Yes, Mr. Cattermole.
I think the only addition I'll make to my previous comments is I can't speak on behalf of those groups of what properties they want from each of the facilities to run their particular activities. So it's their choice whether they want to hire it, and we're willing to hire and make use of the assets that are available in Waratah. So it's not my position to speak on behalf of those groups.
Okay, and now, Mr. Stitch, you have a public statement you wish to make. Is that right about the Athenaeum Hall, or?
So the statement that I wanted to say was that, being the president of the men's shed, we work with all the community groups. However, there's been many people that have come up to me and said that where the community group is in the Athenaeum Hall isn't really working, it should be in the shed. So it's a common feeling from the community that the bigger community groups, like I've just mentioned, should be in the one place, which is a massive shed. So, and quite welcome there. Don't want to see historical pieces of furniture being destroyed. If they're timber, the men's shed can fix them up, you know. And yeah, I didn't think it'd be my relatives that used to walk from Hampshire to Anthonanum Hall for dances 100 plus years ago would be thinking, what's happened to that piano that they used to dance to?
Well, look, thank you for that. As Mr Cattermole has indicated, he was just advised today of the situation, and I'm sure he will get back to you. Thank you for that. Chloe Foster, you have a statement and...
I have a statement and one question.
Okay.
Mayor, councillors and members of the community, good evening. I'm Chloe Foster. As a ratepayer and someone putting up my hand to serve this community at the forthcoming election, I wanted to take the opportunity to acknowledge those who have given so much to Waratah Wynyard. Firstly, I would like to pay my respects to Councillor Kevin Hyland. Councillor Hyland dedicated an extraordinary part of his life to this municipality and its people and the organisations within it. His commitment extended well beyond this chamber, and his passion for his community was unmistakable. To Councillor Hyland's friends and family, his fellow councillors and all of those who knew him, I do extend my sincere condolences. I also want to acknowledge Mayor Dr Mary Dunningham as she approaches the end of more than 2 decades of service to this council as a councillor, deputy mayor and mayor. Public service asks a great deal of people, and your work and tenure represent an enormous contribution. Whatever comes next for this council, your place, Mayor Dunningham, is in its history, including as its first female mayor, so thank you. I also give thanks to Councillor Gary Bramich for his long service. 28 years, what an innings, Councillor. To all the councillors who have served this term, I thank you. You've all worked really hard to represent our community. It would also be remiss of me not to acknowledge some of the recent public commentary about conduct around the council table. Strong words highlighted in the media inevitably attract attention, and sometimes a particular comment can become the focus of a much broader conversation. I don't believe the intent was a criticism of the entire council or the whole 4-year term of office. But I think the principle underneath that conversation is important. A good council should not be a council where everyone agrees. We represent different towns, different backgrounds, different experiences and different views. Healthy debate should be welcomed. Disagreement should be welcomed. Councillors should be able to challenge ideas, ask difficult questions and advocate strongly for the people that they represent. But disagreement and respect are not mutually exclusive. The council table should always be a place where people can debate an issue vigorously, disagree completely, and still treat each other with dignity. It's simply a standard, I think, that all those who seek to represent our community should adhere to, in the chamber, out in public and online. Public service matters, and our community is stronger when good people are prepared to step forward and contribute. So to those of you who have served, those who will continue to serve, and those who will put up their hand this coming election, I thank you.
Thank you for those wise words. And you have a question?
I do. It's a little bit repetitive here tonight, so my apologies. But given the significant cost of living pressures facing households, what community consultation was undertaken before the council decided to remove the early payment discount, and what measures were taken to clearly communicate or warn ratepayers before those notices arrived? A number of ratepayers I've been speaking to within the municipality were unaware of the discount that had been removed until they received their rate notice. And while I acknowledge that the information was certainly posted on Council's website, many people, particularly our older population, may not have access or simply don't regularly visit the Council website. Can Council please detail what other communication or consultation occurred and whether it considers that the 67% of ratepayers who do take up that discount were given adequate notice of a change that does directly affect the amount their households will pay?
Thank you. Mr Smith.
Yeah, in terms of direct community consultation on the decision to remove the early payment discount, it's not normal place that council would, for a rating decision like that, like many of the other rating decisions council makes, that would do direct community consultation on that matter. I know some of the councils do go to community consultation on their draft budget in some instances, but our council hasn't had a practice of going to community consultation on that. In terms of the communication of the decision, obviously there's a number of different methods that we would use to communicate that. We provided some communication on Facebook, which we recognise that not all ratepayers have access to Facebook. We certainly provide some information on our website, and we also have various ways of, I suppose, we communicate when different ratepayers make contact with council. We provide briefs to our customer service staff, our rate staff, and we also put information in the rates notice that goes out around our rating decisions when we send the rates notices out. So there are a variety of different ways that we communicate those decisions. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Mr. Hutchison, would you come forward? You have a public statement, silica dust risks, and question. You have 3 questions, I believe.
Good evening, Mayor. My question is for you regarding silica concerns raised by the community and Council's response to those. So in response to my question at the June Council meeting, it states a community member contacted the Mayor and Deputy Mayor via email on 1 February 2026, raising concerns about silica dust on Stennings Road. The email was shared with the Chief Executive Officer promptly after being received. RTI documents show that you passed on the inquiry to then CEO Vanessa Adams via email, and then you had a phone call, or you were about to have a phone call. Mayor, you've known about the issue at least since February this year, and it's now August. So in relation to respirable crystalline silica dust, yes or no, is there a risk of respirable crystalline silica dust to Wynyard residents? And if you haven't known, what did you do to find out if there was a risk?
Thank you for your question. I do believe that I will need to take that one on notice, because I need to be very clear in my response to you that doesn't contradict any information that you may have heard or that we are presenting.
Thank you. What was the conversation that you had with the CEO in early February when the matter was first raised, and how often did you discuss this matter during 2026?
The answer that I can give you is that I do remember having a conversation with the CEO at the time. However, I haven't documented all of the conversations that I've had with that CEO or with our interim CEO, because there are other matters that we are in need of discussing at other times, and I think that I could possibly look it up for you, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to give you an absolute accurate calculation around how many times I spoke with the CEO, because in that time we've had a change of CEO as well.
So you're prepared to take that on notice?
I'll take it on notice, thank you.
Thank you. And what other actions on the matter have you taken since, or have you failed in your duties to interrogate the matter properly, and by doing so potentially put the Wynyard community at risk of serious harm?
Thank you for that question. It is not the role of this council to undertake that testing. There is a department, the EPA, that does that testing. We don't have a council officer that can undertake this testing. And you're right, the community feels it is a serious issue, and but we are endeavouring to work through what can be done and when it can be done. I can't predict any of that at this stage. So that's another one that I will take on notice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those responses. I appreciate you taking those on notice, and will get back to me in writing. I guess the question that it's not the role of council somewhat is contradicted by the fact that there's 2 motions on the books tonight, and I thank Councillor Courtney and Councillor Edwards for attending to this matter in a way that is considerate of council's role, and that costs can be used by the council to do testing that has initially been done by a ratepayer and a resident of Wynyard into concerns that they've had and other community members have shared into operations of a silica processing facility. Whether or not the EPA has done everything that has needed to do is another matter, but I think council can and should play a role, and the motions tonight really highlight what council can do, and I encourage all councillors to listen to the debate and consider that very carefully. I just wanted to read out some of the information from the report. It's actually a plain language summary of the report, which I believe councillors have all had access to, but not the community at large. So this was a privately commissioned independent report by GTEx. I raised this matter in June, and some of the things that they found were that long-term levels of silica dust at the boundary are about 2.6 times the health-based level used to protect the community. A recognised health guideline, not a formal Australian standard, and levels stayed above that level for roughly 95% of the monitored time. Repeated dust spikes that rose far above the EPA Tasmanian design criterion for silica dust, typically 10 times above it, and the largest spike around 200 times above it. And workplace limits were not exceeded, and levels stayed below the occupational workplace standard, but that standard is designed for healthy adult workers on a shift, not for residents. So that's not the right yardstick for the community. And some of the recommended steps and what it means. So potential off-site health risks from long-term silica dust exposure for neighbouring residents and workers, plus repeated short-term spikes that warrant attention in their own right. It's enough to show that the issue was real and should be investigated further, not by itself proof of a specific health risk to any individual. So I want to make that really clear that it's still uncertain at this point. And the recommended steps were to monitor homes and other locations, run a side-by-side reference sample to confirm the readings and silica content, extend monitoring across a full year, and raise with EPA Tasmania the gap between the facility's reported compliance and the levels measured at the boundary. So I believe it is actually council's responsibility to step in where one particular resident has had to pay for a report and monitoring. It's in the public interest for the community to have that information if the state government won't come good on
Mr.
providing
Hutchison, you've had your 3 minutes, so do you have much more to add to your statement?
I just wanted to highlight aspects of the motion that I think are reasonable. So in Councillor Courtney's motion, a 3-month ambient air and surface dust testing program, and in Councillor Edwards' motion, 1 month testing. Any amount of testing is a good start, but a full year testing while the facility is running, if that's appropriate, would be helpful, and the council should step in where the state government isn't taking that particularly seriously. Thank you.
Our next person is Janine Smith, if you would like to come forward. And you have 3 questions for this council.
Thank you. My matter is about the silica, and I'm just wondering, where are the devices in Wynyard that are testing the air? Where are they positioned? Are they just positioned at the processing plant, or are they positioned around town? Are they going 24 hours a day?
Okay, I shall ask Mr Summers if he is able to respond to this question.
Through you, Mayor, I don't know. I suspect that would be knowledge the EPA would hold.
Okay, so it is the EPA that would have that knowledge, not the council.
Right, and the council doesn't ask the EPA for that information?
Through you, Mayor, I'm sure we could ask for that, but that could be taken on notice.
It will be taken on notice, thank you. You have another question?
Well, it was really about, have you contacted the EPA about the people in Wynyard's concerns over this matter? Has that been given to the EPA? Have they been contacted about that?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. It certainly has. and council officers have offered to assist the EPA where appropriate.
Right,
Thank you.
right, thank you.
Reese Ellis?
Just a little bit more relaxed on my behalf. So I'm president of the Wynyard BMX Club. 2017, the Frederick Street complex proposal got put forward. It's a great opportunity for bringing everything up to date. You know, the youth, like everything seems to be outdated these days. So it was a good opportunity for us to jump on board as a club. 2014, I jumped on board as the president. It's now 2026 and there's no evidence of any work on that proposal being put forward. Just want to touch base as to, is that project still going ahead, or yeah, what's happening with it pretty much is all I want to know.
Okay, thank you. Mr Summers, do you have any response, or shall we take this one on notice?
Probably best to take on notice.
Okay, so we'll take that question on notice. Thank you. Jan Jakovic, silica dust monitoring, and you have a question as well.
Yes, so it's probably really two questions, but with the silica dust monitoring, it's only just come to my attention, and for a problem that residents have raised a decade ago, that just seems a long time for handballing it between different levels of government and EPA and all that. When I see the results of the testing that has been done by GetX, there's cause for public concern, and there's two motions. One motion's $5,000 and like a spot check essentially, which I think GetX has already raised enough concern to show we need a lot more than that, and $35,000 or whatever it is certainly a lot more appropriate over a long-term period. There's obviously an issue there that needs looking at seriously. So I just want to make sure the issue gets the attention it does deserve, because there is a problem and we need to know more about the problem. So we don't need to redefine that there's a problem, we need to investigate the problem. So that's really my statement. My questions stem back, I last came to, I came my first and last meeting here back in April. I should have come a month later and expressed these concerns then, but I haven't. And they're mainly out of my ignorance about how the law works. But back in April, there was an issue raised about Marinus Link, and there was a debate about the role of council. Some people were saying roads, rate and rubbish, whereas others were saying there's a lot more to it. And then there's broader statements like the council manages local infrastructure services, planning and community wellbeing. So my question is there documents at the various levels of government that delineate the boundaries between them? You know, even tonight we're talking about what the EPA is doing and not doing. Actually, part of that question too, part of my previous statement that I forgot to add was whatever the results of the testing are need to be transparent and publicly available, not partially, but completely, because they're of the interest of every resident and ratepayer. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, back to my question, is there any other roles clearly delineated? Because there seemed to be a bit of confusion in the room on that day. And the other confusion in the room on that day was some people were happy with amendments if they were worded differently, of motions if they were worded differently. Can motions be changed on the day at the time, or once they're written down on the agenda, they're fixed? So.
Ronald, if you would like to respond.
Through you, Mayor. The Local Government Act for Tasmania sets out some statements that are requirements of council. The difficulty is, and those statements talk about things like looking after the public health and wellbeing of the community. The difficulty is, and where the challenge lies, is that with 29 councils in Tasmania, my observation has been that you end up with 29 different interpretations of what the Act is suggesting is the role of council. So, very difficult one to answer. And your second question was about?
Amendments, can they be changed? Motions, can they be reworded?
Yes, yes. And again, the local government meeting procedures for council, and indeed the local government meeting procedure regulations for Tasmania set out that once a motion is before the council and that has been moved and seconded, an amendment can be moved, but it can't be moved by the mover or seconder of the original motion. So I hope that makes it clear for you.
Thank you. Okay, that was a very long session, so I thank all of you who've contributed. It does help us decide where we're going to go in the future. So moving on to item 6, the Planning Authority items, and we now open the Planning Authority at 6:50. Item 6.1, application for planning scheme amendment PSA 2/2026 for 1 Mackenzie Drive, Somerset, and proposed storage and vehicle parking area DA 46/2026, section 40K and section 42 report. There is a recommendation before you, councillors. Could I have a mover for this motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts, could I have a seconder for that motion? Second. Councillor Courtney has seconded the motion. Do you wish to open the debate on this motion, please?
Not much to debate, to be honest, Mayor Duniam. It's just recommended that the Planning Authority provides a statement of opinion to the Tas Planning Commission that states that the Planning Authority's opinion has not differed, so it hasn't differed at all. So I'm happy to go with it. So thank you very much.
Are there any further speakers to this motion? Any speakers against the motion? If not, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Item 6.2, visitor accommodation change of use located at 52 Gibbon Street, Wynyard. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, that council in accordance with section 51 and section 57 of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993 and the Tasmanian Planning Scheme, Waratah Wynyard grants approval for visitor accommodation, which is a change of use at 52 Gibbon Street, Wynyard, subject to the list of conditions. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Roberts. Could I have a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Edwards. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to open this debate around this item, please?
Look, I went through all of this. I know about the property in question. My mother has lived on Gibbon Street for 30 years. So, yeah, it's actually a great idea. That's been developed down there at that end of Gibbon Street up from the primary school right now. And I know that there was a large family living in there. So even if it becomes visitor accommodation, there's not going to be any more people live in that building anyway. So that part of town's looking really nice, and the new houses and the families going in, and I think it actually suits that little theme up there too. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers? Any councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Planning Authority closed at 6:53. Item 7, matters raised by councillors. 7.1.1, Councillor Bramich, the Old Jail. 7.1.2, Councillor Johnson, Old Jail. 7.1.3, Councillor Raw, Community Data. 7.1.4, Councillor Raw, Planning Acronyms. And 7.2, Councillor questions received in writing. 7.3, Councillor questions received without notice.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to go back to the old jail. We got pictures, obviously. Any chance or any discussion whether we get the whole building or it's not feasible?
Through you, Mayor, the last communication we've had with the owner was that the owner was investigating alternate options.
I missed that, sorry.
The owner is investigating alternate options.
Right. So are we in with a chance to get it or not?
Through you, Mayor, it doesn't appear that way, depending on what option the owner of the building comes up with.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bromwich. Are there any further questions without notice, please? Councillor Courtney.
Two quick ones. Obviously, the public are pretty upset about the rates discount, so just wondering whether the new council could reconsider reintroduction pending changes to the budget, whether we could just bring it back to the new council, because obviously it's not gone over well. I myself think that we should keep it. I think that the new council should be, given the chance to have a workshop to discuss it.
Okay,
so could they have a workshop to discuss it?
So did you say you had two questions or just the one?
Yeah, I did. So the second question was whether the new council could also consider approval of AI data centres and the federal legislation that's being introduced early in the new year, because I think that might tie in. Obviously, we've had the discussion with TasWater. I got the impression personally that there was more concern about how much they could make off the data centres. I have concerns around it and the TasWater response. So I think that it should be brought to the new council in line with the federal legislation that's being changed to force AI data centres to have their own water and their own energy supply, particularly so in Tasmania because of how short we are on energy. So if we could bring that to a workshop, just in consideration for the federal legislation coming in.
Yes. Okay.
Mayor?
Beg your pardon?
That's it.
You have a right.
Now it's a part question, part statement. So the question is, can I do a statement that has questions in that statement? As always, and this is how we get around it. Okay. Look, can we please let the public know that I moved the motion about the rates discount and I accept full responsibility of it. Right. So I accept full responsibility for that. As members of the while we all do, I am more than happy to put my hand up and say, I moved that motion. I'm the one that moved it. I'm the one that spoke to it. So I accept full responsibility of it from our community, okay? Now, we do have these discussions behind closed doors and we have them for hours and we have access to information that others, when they elected to council, they will get to see. And then they will understand why we make the decisions we do. But unfortunately, in the rooms we make them, it is completely confidential as to why we made those decisions, which makes it hard for us to explain to people why we made those decisions. The shortfall was originally over $500,000 for our ratepayers, right? So we have normally cash reserves of about $5 million in the bank.
Councillor Roberts.
So the question.
Yes,
Right,
this is about councillor questions without notice,
So
but
the
not
question
statements.
is, can we let the public know that it is completely my fault? I accept full responsibility of it, okay? I'm the one that moved it. And can we please explain why is that we had a $366,000 shortfall and we had to fix it quick before we lost $366,000 out of our bank account, and that we had a new enterprise bargaining agreement in the last 12 months. We also had our childcare workers and now had a pay rise.
So
right?
you are giving us a lot of statements. As
Right,
I
so the
have
question is-
indicated, the question,
Can we
please.
please let the public know that I accept full responsibility of it,
That
please?
is what you would wish.
Not Mr. Smith, not my fellow councillors. I will accept full
Thank you for
responsibility.
your words.
Thank you.
We will make sure that the public is
Thanks,
thoroughly
mate. Thank you.
informed. Okay, moving on to item 8.
I still had a question.
Oh, sorry, Deputy Mayor Edwards.
So something minor but a big thing to other people. Is there any way that we could look at bollards or something down the main street that people can put their dog lead on, so they're not putting on tables or shop signs or anything? Because I think some people have seen some dogs running down the street with a sign running after them, so that was a concern for a ratepayer. And I was talking to someone and they actually confirmed my thoughts around this also. Is there any way we could do a traffic assessment or a counter up the main street that actually tells us the speed that cars are travelling, please? Because it just seems too fast for a main street and I feel it's a little bit dangerous.
Mr. Summers.
Through you, Mayor. So for the first one, we could come up with various furniture options for tying up a dog leads and the like. The second one, the traffic counters absolutely do measure speed. So placing a traffic counter in the main street at an appropriate location will give speed for every vehicle that passes within a reasonable level of accuracy.
Councillor Johnson.
Just one more. I was lucky enough to, I went down to the Sisters Beach community consultation last Thursday, and the community was there just on gathering thoughts on what to do with the land that we have purchased for the behind the Little Sisters shop, and it was a really good community event. There was a big ticket item on there that the community really want, and I was just going to put it forward. Yes, I know we're going into caretaker mode, but can we workshop, or say down the track, or say when new council comes on board, that the Sisters community can really look at getting a community hall for that space down there. I'm thinking that it's a needs for the as Sisters Beach is the community is growing. It's a need for that community to really look at. So question is, can the Sisters Beach community group organise a workshop with council to move that forward?
Thank you. That has been noted. Thank you. Are there any further questions? Deputy Mayor Edwards.
As a council, when we make a decision on a motion recommendation, it is the whole council that makes that decision. So I would just like to say that I wouldn't like Councillor Roberts to take the whole blame for the rates. It is the whole council.
I'm really happy to. Through you, Mayor. Through you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Edwards. Are there any further questions? If not, I'll move on to item 8, notice of motion 8.1, Councillor Courtney, urgent review of water security and development controls for high intensity data centres. Councillor Courtney, would you like to open the debate, please?
This is a difficult one for me.
Sorry. Yep, I'm leaping ahead way too fast.
Yes, moved.
Yes, you've moved it. Thank you. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Roberts. Thank you. Thank you.
Difficult one for me because after the conversations with Taswater, I can see that this is far more complicated, and with the introduction of the federal legislation, that complicates it even further. So I'd be happy for a deferral. So I will do a procedural and move to defer this motion to the new council.
Just a moment, I'll confer with our...
Through you, Mayor, the mover of the motion can't move an alternate.
Okay.
Well, I would like, once the seconder goes, I'm the seconder, so you're going to have to do this, if that's okay, through you, Mayor.
Thank
so
you.
I'm going second, and I would like to say that I'm done. So.
Right. Okay, I've just been advised we need councillors other than the mover and seconder to move the procedural motion to defer this motion. So,
What with that?
Well, someone's going to have to second it.
just, please, Councillor Roberts, would you just wait? Councillor Bramage, you had your hand up as well. Do you?
I'll move it for the new council to deal with.
Seconder is Deputy Mayor Edwards. Okay, I now put it to the vote.
Aye.
Put your hands down just for the moment.
You already
Thank you.
started it.
All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Item 8.2, Councillor Courtney's silicosis testing under
I'll leave the
statutory.
room, Mayor.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
We lie on the couch.
Enjoyed retirement early.
Councillor Courtney, are
You
you?
all know he's going to the kitchen.
Okay.
Yes,
Are you moving this motion?
I am.
Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll move that.
Deputy Mayor Edwards, Councillor Courtney, do you wish to open that debate, please?
Go.
You're right there, Councillor Roberts.
Yes, he's going to move for an amendment.
Yes, but you have to go
Okay.
first before.
Can I just ask that you do not interact between each other? You
Through you,
must.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Councillor Courtney has moved and seconded. Would they wish to move and second and speak before I amend the motion?
Okay.
Is the question.
So are you wishing to
You have to go. I can't do it without them going.
go to the mover? Okay. Would you like to open the debate? Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to amend the motion, and as I can't as the mover of the motion, I'm willing to wait for Councillor Roberts to speak on the motion.
Right.
So it has to go.
Deputy Mayor Edwards, are you happy with that situation?
She want to speak. She's
Yeah, all right. So do you wish to speak to that?
Yes, I'm happy to speak to it. I think we need to protect the health and well-being of our local residents. That's for now. That's all I need to say.
Through you, Mayor, may I please move an amendment?
Are there any other speakers to the motion at the moment?
Through you, Mayor, may I please move an amendment?
Yes, I accept that.
Okay,
Councillor Roberts.
so I am wishing to amend clause 3 and 4 of the proposed motion. Now, the amendment to clause 3 is currently it says to commission an independent NATA accredited environmental consultant to design and execute, okay? Now, the amended text I wish to place into this is to commission an independent certified environmental practitioner, site contamination specialist, CENVP-SC, to design and execute. Thank you. Right, so that's the first part of my amendment for part 3. And so amendment to clause 4 is the current text currently states, directs the council officers to ensure this independent testing program specifically assesses, right? Now I wish to amend it to say that directs the council officers to ensure this independent testing program is overseen by a CENVP-SC to ensure compliance with the Environmental Management and Pollution Control Act, EMPCA, and specifically assesses. Right, so,
Yes, if you could pass that to.
Sally's got a copy.
She's got a copy, has she? Okay. So we can get that up on the screen.
and I've got to move it. I've got to speak.
No, we need a second.
Yep, correct.
Okay, while that is being put on our screen, I need a seconder to Councillor Roberts' motion. So
It has to be seconded to the amendment, and it'll have to be someone that hasn't moved it yet.
that's right. So I'm looking for a seconder. Oh, okay, thank you, Councillor Johnson. Okay. Okay, Councillor Roberts, do you wish to open the debate on this?
Before Councillor Roberts opens the debate, So through you, Mayor, I'd like to put a procedural motion again, that the motion be deferred and put on the table. And I can say my specific reasons why I would like that to happen.
I need a seconder to your motion for that to be affected. Is there any councillor that wishes to support Councillor Raw's motion? Procedural motion, sorry. There isn't, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Right. So, look, obviously I can go into this. I just want to actually credit. I could go on about this forever. Really, I could.
I want to credit the members of the community that have been involved in this. I want to credit the councillors as well. I do not want to get lost in the messaging from the community, as Mr. Whiteway stated before, that he's not suggesting that TAM has done anything wrong. He's not suggesting that it is dangerous. He's not suggesting that anything of the sort. We're just saying that whilst there are two sides of this debate within our community, that we should actually run the test so that we can erase division amongst our community, okay? So that we don't have people arguing online about this, okay? I appreciate everything Tas Advanced Minerals does in this town. I appreciate all the people they employ, and I appreciate everything they do for this community, okay? No one, as far as I'm aware, to my knowledge, has suggested they have done anything inappropriate. The only question on this table is that since in absence of state government leadership here, right, I believe it is the appropriate place for local government to step in and show leadership to our community. The safety and the welfare of every individual in this community is important. And I would also like to state that it doesn't matter if it's only one person asking this question, that every one individual in this community is important. And by community, I mean our whole entire region. I want to credit the work that's done. I came to the council meeting tonight only to have discussion with both people that have an agenda item tonight, both councillors, and they both worked together amicably to come to a solution that our community will be happy with. Now, I am more than happy to support this. I'm more than happy to amend this, and I'm incredibly proud of my fellow councillors for working together for the good of our community. And that is all.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Courtney.
It's all right, mine's going to be real quick and easy. Firstly, thank you, Deputy Mayor Edwards, for taking this matter so seriously and putting your own motion up. That's a credit to you. I'm going to be real quick. The testing that's done for Tas Advanced Minerals is a workplace health and safety test. It's done during work hours on healthy people. What we're asking for is tests for the community, which we don't do currently. The GTEX support as report obviously shows that there is potentially an issue there. We have very high rates of COPD. So for me, this silicosis is as serious as asbestos. I don't want to find out in 10 years that we should have done the testing and that people have got it because we didn't do the testing for the community. So I've tried to tighten up the motion as much as I can for legal course moving forward. If we could just get it in the budget, we've spent more on Christmas decorations than what we would on doing this test. So I think in the interest of the community's health and welfare, and to put this matter to bed, that we need to do this testing for our community and have it independent and be able to then provide our community with the results of those tests and be able to take it back to the regulators and the industry lawyers and say, well, there is a concern here and we'd like you to deal with it. We don't know that until the testing's done. Obviously, the testing I'm asking for is expensive. It's going to need a budgetary consideration, so I'm happy to support Councillor Edwards' motion that would do some immediate testing. But I would also ask that the fellow councillors understand the seriousness of asbestos being, silicosis being like asbestos, and that we support this environmental test in the community to make sure that we don't have those risks there. That's all we're doing. We spend more on Christmas decorations.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Are there any further speakers?
Is that for or against?
Sorry?
It has to be for.
For or against. So I didn't finish my words. Any further speakers for or against this motion?
Yes, I'd like to speak. Yeah.
Councillor Raw.
Thank you. I think we can understand that this is something that is causing concern to some people in our community. And so my thing around how I work and how I deliver is around informed decision making. And this one has been a tricky one to get informed decision making because it has been a moving feast. And when we first talked about it last time, and we were looking at the GTEX report, that was the only one we had, and the findings in there of what they were going to do or suggest, They were small, but they were adjustments, and they said that they were going to do an additional test, recommended an additional test, and do it longer, over a year, and that was important to them, over a year. And they were going to take this to the EPA to suggest that these things happen. So we haven't heard back from the EPA, and that's why it was put on the table last time for us to hear from the EPA around what they thought about that test, what they were going to do, where they were going to take on those recommendations, or what was going to happen. So that was why it was on the table. It's come up again today, but still I think we need to talk to EPA because they have or hold a lot of information that they could talk to us about. They're the state group that deals with this. I really believe we need to listen to them and see what they say, because the other thing that we need to know is what tests they do and how many tests, and we don't know that yet, what tests they do. We haven't been told that. So what if this test or these tests actually replicate what they're doing? So instead of putting money into it, I'd prefer to ask EPA to come here as quickly as they could and give us that briefing. And the other thing, the other thing is the email that came.
Excuse me.
Please close.
We're raising the issue that is separate to this motion, that the previous motion was to go to the EPA.
With this.
This motion is independent and it is not asking for EPA involvement. It is a separate motion asking for us to allocate a budget item because the testing the EPA do is not the community testing.
And I'm saying that...
I'll call point of order on it, please. Point of order.
I'm saying that I think that EPA need to give us that information so we can make informed
Just a
decisions.
moment, please, Councillor Roberts, so that I can work with all of you. Would you please stop interrupting and allow me to work it out where I need to go to next? Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, Councillor Raw interrupting.
It's Councillor Raw interrupting, it's not me, it's Councillor Raw.
Okay, point of order.
Correct. All right, thank you, Mayor.
So you state, Councillor Courtney, that Councillor Raw has crossed the line, in other words,
He's
and
referring to a previous motion.
She's not even talking about what
being
this
deferred
motion
to the EPA.
Councillor Roberts, I'm not going to say it again. Please
So the
continue.
relevance of getting the EPA feedback in this motion is negligent because it's a test that the EPA don't do. I understand that Councillor Raw doesn't understand what the EPA do, the tests that they do.
Point of order, I do.
Where do we go?
Just go to close. Call division.
Yeah.
Councillor Raw, I need to deal with this
Yes, I
point
No,
of order.
please call division to go straight to close.
Straight to vote.
Straight to vote. I've got a right to do that, thank you.
We did a second.
Yeah, she'll second.
Okay, I'm going to put it to the vote. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Against? Carried unanimously. The amendment is carried.
And now becomes the motion.
And that now becomes the motion, which is not debated. Okay, so.
Councillor Johnson hasn't.
He's the seconder.
Councillor Johnson is the seconder. Okay, so we now have that amended motion has become the motion.
And we need another speaker. If Councillor Johnson.
Councillor Johnson, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, I've pondered this and over the course of probably since Wednesday, reading first motion and all that, but in the crust of it, when it comes down to people's safety and our community, and there is grave concerns out there, and they want to hear, they want to see this testing. So therefore, this is why I have accepted and will pass the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Are there any speakers? They've all spoken? Okay, I'm going to now put the motion. All those in favour of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Councillor Raw is against. Carried.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Councillor Edwards.
Okay, item 8.3, Councillor Edwards Silicatus, do you have a motion?
Yes, I do.
You need a seconder for
Oh,
that.
can I have?
I'll second Councillor Edwards'
Councillor
motion.
Courtney seconded the motion.
My motion is that council, in the interest of community wellbeing, public health and transparency, resolve to support the establishment of a temporary static respirable particulate monitoring station in the vicinity of Caitlin Drive, Wynyard, for a period of 1 month at an estimated cost of approximately $500 to address community concerns regarding potential exposure to respiratory crystalline silica.
Seconded.
Thank you. Yep.
So you've got to talk though.
Yep, I'm happy to talk after a potential amendment.
I'll keep talking for a moment, guys.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Edwards. It is your position now to talk.
Second amendment.
So this is causing quite debate out in the community, and I feel there's a lot of fors and a lot of against. People believe, people don't, and I just feel that in the interest of the community, that we need to bring this to the table for testing. This is available or close to being available like here and now at a small cost, and it is, it can be held up in a court is what I am told. So and we just want to soften that public concern out there and have answers for everybody so that and we can do our duty to get those answers that people need. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Courtney, obviously Councillor Roberts would like you to speak next. Go right
It's
ahead.
the process, it's how it works.
As a seconder, I think that one of our fellow councillors is chomping at the bit to make the amendment, so this will be my speaking on it until the amendment's suggested.
Are there any speakers against the motion?
Yes.
Amendment.
We've got to go to the amendment. Right, so we don't go to against, so we go for,
Councillor Roberts, if you could be quiet for a moment. Councillor Raw has said that she would like to speak against the motion. If you would, I will adjourn this meeting if you're going to continue that behaviour. Please just wait and understand that I am the chair, you are not. Councillor Raw, would you like to speak against the motion, please?
Yes, I would. And I'd go back to my thing about informed decision making and knowing as much information as we can. An email came to all of us today, councillors, and I wonder whether everybody has read it. It came at 1 o'clock today that made me question whether this email is right or not about whether we should go ahead. And I'm probably lucky that Councillor Edwards' email is very much in light or in the vein of the last one. But in this email that came to us all, that is hoping for us to have good information, it states that the GTEX report provided no measurements of RCS levels, and so they've questioned that wording in Councillor Courtney's motion. The second thing they brought up is that EPA Tasmania is already completing a full formal investigation, including technical review of all allegations.
Councillor Courtney, you've called a point of order.
That seems relevant to my motion, not the one that's currently being debated.
And point of order, we're meant to go for before against, and we have already said we're doing an amendment, so we've missed the bit where we're meant to do the amendment, Mayor. Right, so now we can't go and do the amendment because we've gone past it. Which is why I was trying to teach you the rules, by the way, Mayor Dunham.
Point of order, inappropriate behaviour.
Well, it was inappropriate to not
inappropriate
follow the
behaviour.
processes in this room.
You can still do another amendment outside of Councillor Raw's speaking.
We have to.
This meeting to order. Councillor Roberts. All of you, please show some respect for the role that I have around the table and your words in saying that you are going to teach me.
I said I was trying to teach you them, Mayor.
Oh, there you go.
He's right.
Now I'm going to move on to point of order. Would you, again, Councillor Courtney, please state the reasons behind that point of order?
Councillor Raw seems to be stating that there's complaints about the wording of my motion. That's not relevant to Councillor Edwards' current motion.
Okay, I accept your point of order. You must stick to the motion, the details around that particular motion, which means that...
The thing that I was getting to, the third thing, apart from that EPA are already completing full tests, we just need to wait. The last one is that they've stated that the particulate monitors do not identify silica. So what Councillor Edwards is saying should be put out in the community. They're actually raising the question, it only identifies dust and it will not identify silica. So this is my whole thing. I think I would have required and liked all this to be on hold, where we would have collected more information, as I say, get EPA in, talk it through. I think we're on the cusp of making bad decisions that involve council money, and if only we could have looked at all the information that was sitting there. Now, this came in late, but it's from a person that we should respect.
I'm asking you, Councillor Raw, to stick to the motion.
So I'll be voting against the motion because it won't. The testing requirement won't do what it's being asked to do.
Okay, are there any other speakers, please, for the motion?
Right, so I would like to move an amended motion for this, please, Mayor Duniam.
You may.
So that's what I was saying before, is mover, seconder, amendment, okay? And so my amendment is that council will gain approval from EPA Tasmania to assure that the test methods will meet requirements. We will review EPA's response, and if EPA are going to test the Wynyard subdivision to confirm that it is safe, we will not complete our own test work, okay? So that is an attempt from... So I need a seconder.
We need a seconder before you talk to it. Could I have a seconder, please, to that motion?
Amendment.
The amendment.
Oh, yeah.
Councillor Johnson. Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor, this is for the amendment. Thank you.
Right. For the amendment first. Yep.
You may speak to the amendment.
Now, again, I want to credit Deputy Mayor Edwards with this one.
Have you got a copy that Sally can put it up on the...
So while Sally is putting this up on the screen, Councillor Roberts, if you would like.
Look, I just firstly want to absolutely commend Deputy Mayor Edwards for presenting this amendment tonight before the meeting. This is in an attempt for the ratepayers to save some money, okay? So that is Deputy Mayor Edwards's response to saving the ratepayers' money. Now, I told Deputy Mayor Edwards that I really like her motion, and I really hope that both of them get up tonight. So, but I did say that I would move this, okay? So I want to put this, especially in question, Mr. Whiteway's question, asked a fair question. How can you come to a meeting 1 month and get one result, and you come to a meeting and it's got, so I want to explain this. That is great leadership.
Point of order. No. It's got nothing to do with the motion.
It does have to do with this. It's absolutely to do with this motion. I'm correct.
I need to rule on that point of order. So you're calling a point of order based on...
Yeah, I can't see why we're doing it now, because that was something that was taken on notice and it's going to be explained later. Councillor Edwards said she'd take it on notice, so it will be explained later. So it's got no relevance now.
Okay, thank you. I won't accept that point of order at this point in time. So, Councillor Roberts, if you would be brief.
I would say that that is excellent leadership from Deputy Mayor Edwards, because when we are open to new information, it's a great sign when people do change their mind, to be honest. And it's true, right? So I want to commend my fellow councillors upon further review of the information that came to light, that they have immediately taken action, to ensure something is done about this. And I commend every single one of them for standing up for the people in their community. Now, if that result, I want people to understand that if that result come back, there's not a problem, there's not an issue, there's not, every single person that has asked this question will be extremely glad. Okay, and so I don't think anyone feels that they know the answer definitively either way, which really does show why this test is so important. And I commend my fellow councillors for standing up and showing leadership. I commend Deputy Edwards for putting this amendment forward. I truly hope my fellow councillors vote against it, what I have just put up, so that we can do both tests. I feel that an extra $500 for our community is money well spent when it comes to the health and safety of our families, our children and our constituents. So I want to commend them all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Johnson, as seconder, would you like to speak to this motion?
Yeah,
Amended motion.
yes, as the EPA will say, the council gains approval from the EPA to ensure, so in which that means the right equipment to test the silica dust. So therefore, I think we're moving in the right direction, whether it be a month or 12 months. It's still going to show signs on, if there's silica in the air. Yeah, so in that way,
So the mover and seconder of the amended motion have spoken. Are there any other speakers that wish to speak?
Okay, so in closing, I would implore my fellow councillors to vote against me on this motion. I still really want this test as well. I think Deputy Mayor Edwards has done a great work here, and I really want both of these motions to get up. They are separate, they're different. One is for a shorter time frame. In the immediacy, it'll give us some semblance of an idea in the immediacy, and then the 3-month test will give us a better idea if we need the 12-month test. And so I feel that they're both relevant, they're both applicable. I think both of our fellow councillors have done a tremendous job with this, and I support both of them. But at the request, I have moved this, so I will vote for it, but I hope my fellow councillors vote against me.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to put the amendment to the vote. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against?
I'm abstaining.
Councillor Raw is abstaining. The motion is carried. The amendment is now the motion. So,
Right. Again, as the mover, again, I implore my fellow councillors to vote against me on this one so that we can get this testing for the community. I want both testings. Basically, we want to complete our own test work, do you understand? This motion is so we don't. Okay, all right. All right, so call to division.
thank you, Councillor Roberts. Yes?
I was just going to say the wording is worded from Deputy Mayor Edwards that if we go for the EPA and we get that back, that we don't do our own testing. Do you understand? For the $500 testing. Whereas I don't want that. I want us to still do that in the immediacy, because a week is a lot better to get the result than 3 months or 12 months. Does this make sense?
You've already spoken. Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any other speakers, please? Councillor Courtney.
Yeah, I'm going to support the motion because I think that it's a great idea to do the immediate testing, which is cheaper, rather than waiting for the budget to do the longer test, which I think would be a better collector of data. So happy to support Councillor Edwards' motion. And one of the reasons that I'm supporting the motion and I've put up my own is because a meeting with the EPA was attended by a number of people and they requested an admission from Adam Martin that he not attend the meeting. So I think there's a little bit of funny business going on. Happy to support Salisa's motion to do the testing.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? If not, I'm going to, Deputy Mayor.
I'd like to close.
Yeah, you speak before me and then I believe I have to close because
No, you did the amendment.
I did the amendment, yeah, right, you're right.
Thank you.
I'm just doing what you asked.
Deputy Mayor
So
Edwards.
I'm right to close.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Now I've lost my train of thought. Like this is a community, this is what people are worried about. So it's like community. So I think the other parts that like that the EPA are dealing with, they can deal with that side of it. I look at this as testing in the community. You know, it's for the people and we need to do our duty and test in the community to, you know, to know that, that we're just thinking of our community and their health and well-being. So, close the meeting because that has totally thrown me. So,
Well, just look at the last sentence there.
it's okay, Dylan. We're going to close.
Okay.
I'm going to put it to the vote, thank you. So no more comments from the floor. Okay, all those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against?
I'm abstaining.
Abstaining. The motion is carried. Thank you, Councillor Roberts.
Councillor Ravage.
Thank you. If I could, I have not adjourned the meeting. So 8.4, Councillor Edwards, drug and alcohol procedure policy, not drunk, drug. Your motion. Could you please read out your motion? Councillor Roberts, are you? Deputy Mayor Edwards, would you, you are moving the motion? Yes, I am. Could I have a seconder for that motion, please?
I'll second it.
Councillor Roberts has seconded. Deputy Mayor Edwards, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Yes. My motion is that council offers to investigate and report back to council on the ability to introduce a drug and alcohol procedure policy for councillors. This has been what I've been wanting to do for the last 4 years. I've wrote notes, but yeah, it's let me go back again. So. Yes, I've been looking at this for quite a while. I discussed it with our last GM, Shane Crawford, and I discussed it. So what I want to get to is that we are all leaders, and we need to be on the front foot and lead by example within our community. There's a lot of people that expect a lot from our leaders, and I feel that this is another avenue of us stepping up as leaders. People want us to have a working with vulnerable people card. People want us to like lift the tone. So I feel that this drug and alcohol policy procedure is, you know, what we need to look into. I understand, you know, it will be hard to get through Work Health and Safety, the Local Government Act. You know, is it legally binding to have? But yeah, I just really feel that we need to have it. I did put up the Rockhampton drug and alcohol procedure, and I rang those councillors up there. And when I was talking to one of them, I only talked to one, but I rang around them. And when I asked him like what he thought about it, he said, well, why wouldn't you have one? So yeah, kind of cemented what I would like to do. So yeah, so I understand, you know, there's a lot to look at, but I think as leaders we need to, you know, put that line in the sand and step through as leaders within our community. Yeah, as so many people expect so much from us. So I think, you know, we need to feel safe, we need to make good decisions, and we need to let others feel safe when we do make those decisions. So I would love some support around the table for this. Thank you.
Are there any speakers against this motion? Councillor Courtney?
Not necessarily against. I'm actually okay with it going back to council to be considered, but this will have financial implications, it'll have legal implications, it'll have privacy right implications. So I'm glad that we're not just adopting it and that we're sending it back to council to look at the ramifications of it.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Are there any further speakers to the motion?
Can I ask a clarification question?
You can.
In our notes that come to our meeting with the stuff, it says that there's no legislation or a legislative ability to introduce this. So obviously it's a state legislation that prevents us from doing this, which makes it different from the one in Queensland, which is obviously a mainland legislation.
Are you able to?
Through you, Mayor, if I've heard your question correctly, Councillor Orr, there is currently no legislative ability to make it mandatory, but without undertaking further investigation, I would say at this point in time, you could introduce a voluntary procedure.
Right. Okay. Councillor Bramish.
Yeah, I'm going to speak for the motion, because it's only an investigation. That's all it is. If I was 40 years younger, I probably wouldn't have supported it. As soon as I'm an old fart now, it won't matter. So I'm quite happy to support it.
Bit elbow bending.
Thank you, Councillor Bramish, for that
That's all
insight.
right. You know all about me now.
Okay, so are there any further speakers for or against this motion?
Look, again, like all of us, we're happy to support it, to go have a look at it and come back and see where it's at. I know the Poisons Act has changed a lot in the last few years as well in regards to certain things. So Tasmanian law's changed, even the police are confused at this point. So I think a bit of research should be really good. The courts are a bit inconsistent with all this stuff at the moment too, because it's actually the definition legally and stuff, even with driving, is just police officers' discretion now due to the Poisons Act. So we should investigate it legally and then we should bring it back.
This is about drug and alcohol.
Know exactly what it's about.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? If not, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Councillor Edwards, recording of workshops.
That
Oh, sorry, yes, we do need a seconder.
I'll second it.
Councillor Roberts seconded. Deputy Mayor Edwards moved. Councillor Edwards, Deputy Mayor Edwards, would you please open the debate?
my motion is that council officers investigate and report back to council on the potential to introduce a recording of workshop recordings policy. Again, virtually like the other one, I'm not sure of the legal implications, work health and safety, but I'll just read out. I tried to get my words down today, so we'll see how it goes. As community leaders, councillors must be held to the highest standards of accountability, professionalism and respectful conduct. Investigating the potential recordings of council workshops would assist in developing a policy that promotes the transparency, accountability and appropriate behaviours by all participants. The purpose of such a policy is not to inhibit discussion, but to foster a safe, respectful and productive workshop environment for councillors, council staff and visitors. While the local government sector continues to promote initiatives such as Lift the Tone, there remains a need for practical measures that encourage respectful engagement and help address inappropriate behaviours when it occurs. It is hoped that the recording of workshops would provide greater accountability for all participants, contribute to an improved standard of conduct and create a safe workplace environment for staff and elected members. Councillors, staff and visitors should feel confident in expressing their views openly and respectfully without fear of intimidation, hostility or verbal abuse. In my experience, there have been occasions during workshops where the environment has become uncomfortable and confronting. These experiences have at times caused anxiety and have negatively impacted my sense of well-being and ability to participate fully in discussion. The introduction of workshop recording should be considered as a means of promoting transparency, protecting all participants and reinforcing the standard of behaviour expected of those entrusted with public office. So this is for all participants, and it's not pinpointing anything because we're all leaders and we all want the best outcome around the table, and I think yes, we can put a line in the sand and move forward and hopefully just to investigate and see what can happen, and with the new term coming, hopefully we could find something that could work. You know, in a world where people are more reactive mentally, and our psycho-safety, it does take an impact on us all. So I want to protect, like the workers, all councillors, and, we need to get on with the job at hand, not have everything, having this as our core when we do our workshops, when we should be doing work for our community.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards.
Thank you. Now I've seconded. Okay, so thank you, Deputy Mayor Edwards. I really appreciate that. And look, I want to explain the consistency here, right? So before, when I was saying those things about that, was to follow the processes of local government. We have rules in here and we have to follow them. There's a certain particular process we have to follow to meet Local Government Act of 1993, but we don't. And if I say, hey, we're not following the rules right now, I get told to be quiet and have respect, okay? Right, but if the people in the audience are watching don't know the rules, then they will assume that it's me in the wrong, won't they? But it's not. It's actually the processes that are wrong, okay? And so then I get told publicly to have respect on camera. I'm allowed, okay?
Can we talk to the chair, please?
I'm addressing all the public.
Would you please address the chair
All right, so I'm
and the
addressing-
councillors? Thank
Right.
you.
So it would appear that I'm in the wrong. Then say there's articles that appear in the media saying that the behaviour is disgraceful and toxic because we want to follow the rules of local government. I've been involved with local government off and on for over 3 decades. I did my work placement here when I was in high school. I was 2 officers of this council. The 3 separate CEOs I've had during the time here told me that I understand the processes impeccably of local government. It takes people decades to learn these things. And every time I have demanded accountability and that we follow the rules consistently and we apply them consistently, only to be told to be quiet and have some respect. Right? So how is this fair? How is this reputable? How is this integrity? Because we're asking for these things as if there's this issue, whereas perhaps the issue is the inconsistency of the application of the rules, right? So perhaps there can be this feeling that, say, I'm doing the wrong thing by interrupting the meeting, when really I'm the one following the rules and trying to have us follow the rules. And I ask that we do, only to be told that that's not my job and to be quiet and have some respect. And so how is this accurate? Right? How is this an accurate reflection to the public? Only to say then behind closed doors that we have much problems and people feel unsafe. I also feel like none of this has been applied. I've seen behaviour towards certain councillors that I also do not feel comfortable with. I also feel like my psychosocial, I've been damaged watching some of this stuff, okay? But when I say it,
right? So I just feel like going forward as a council into our next term as a new council, I respect and appreciate everything everyone has done, but I view it as an opportunity for us to make a fresh start and for us to turn over a new leaf altogether as a new group, potentially, for who makes it back to this table and for who comes onto this table. I have a lot of respect for this institution. I have been indoctrinated in this institution since I was 8 years old in this very building. And it means everything to me, and local government also means everything to me. And I respect it to the point that when people desecrate it in front of me, I will call that out. And I will expect the same from everyone and every councillor, okay? So, to be honest, I respect what Deputy Mayor Edwards is doing here. I respect what she is trying to do here. But maybe the issue perhaps isn't between us. Do you understand? Maybe we all of us need to turn over a new leaf and have a fresh beginning in a new future with a new era of local government, with new leadership and a new council. And I really see candidates in the gallery tonight. I think they are excellent candidates. I think they're the exact candidates that Legat would like to run for local government, and I absolutely hope they get on. And, you know, I think that as you've, Deputy Mayor Edwards, so point of order, she's laughing at me while I'm doing, this is what I'm talking,
Point of order because
laughing at me,
I think
okay, please.
we're talking about recording of workshops.
Yes, and this is where I'm going into this. Is
we're
Can I
way
please
away
finish?
from recording workshops.
Just one person at a
But I'm
time.
meant to be speaking right now.
When a point of order is called, and you did say you would teach me the rules. When a point of order is called, then as chair, I address that point.
I'm on point as to exactly the issues that Deputy Mayor raised. There is no point of order here. I'm directly on point with what she has said.
Excuse me, please, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Raw has called a point of order. If you would allow her to speak to that point of order, and then as chair, no one else, but as myself as chair, will make a decision about that. Councillor Raw, your point of order is based on?
That we're asking about recording of workshops and the fact that when we record workshops, things move better and behaviour is better. I'd like to focus on that now and put it to the vote that we either vote for recording this or not.
That's a point of order. It's not.
I beg your pardon?
I said it's a point of order. It's
I
actually.
accept the point of order.
Right.
Thank you, Councillor Raw.
Right. So again, in reference to Deputy Mayor talking about safety and psychosocial, I also agree. But I feel like there's a new opportunity for a new council to come in. Deputy Mayor Edwards has asked this question, as has Councillor Raw, to multiple GMs and CEOs in council, all of whom gave the exact same answer. And the answer that Vanessa Adams gave was that the reason the workshops aren't recorded is so that we can have true, honest and frank discussion behind closed doors before we get to this room, so that we have already at least had an opportunity to come to terms with what will be said at the meetings. And that way it allows us as a group to present the most professional image. Every single thing we say in a recorded workshop, if we recorded them, is a matter of state record, okay? Which means every single thing that we discuss in this building, right? So you've just talked about different items of motion that perhaps potentially include legal ramifications, okay? And if we record those meetings, those potential legal ramifications are now a matter of state record, okay, which would rob us of our due process to deal with our own issues in governance. You know, so yeah, I agree that perhaps that the behaviours at times, and I actually credit my fellow councillors for their civility publicly, okay? Because absolutely we have had some disagreements behind closed doors, but the civility is at least to some degree in the council chambers much better than most of the 29 councils in Tasmania, in my opinion. And so I would like us, I'll be voting against this as is a matter of law, But I do understand absolutely where Deputy Mayor Edwards is. And I myself am extending an olive branch to say, let us all start again if we are lucky enough to be re-elected.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any speakers for or against? Please, Councillor Bramage.
Thank you. I can't help not say anything regarding this. I really sympathise with anybody that feels uneasy.
Yep.
That's not what we're about. And it disappoints me that we get people uneasy. I'll include myself in that. I probably go off the handle a bit sometimes. But I take myself back 20 years ago when the Fentons, the Chalks, the Bill Frenches, the David Moores was all here. Bloody toss operators.
Well, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts.
Sorry. They were tough operators, and we had some ding-dong goes. We really did. And I thought to myself, when the meet's finished, we'd all have a yaffle. And we'd be right. But we've lost that somehow. And how we get it back, I don't know. I don't know whether it's a generation difference or what. But I'd like to get that back if I could. But I probably haven't got long enough here to get that back. I don't know, but I really feel sorry for anyone that leaves here uncomfortable with the debate we've had. So we'll support your motion to try and see if something can happen to try and get it back. And I don't know, dare I say this? Maybe we've come too sooky. I don't know. Oh, God forbid me for saying that. But maybe that's the case. Anyhow, enough said. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bramage. Councillor Courtney, you were wishing to add to this debate?
Look, I'm against the idea of it because I'd like to think that we can have frank and fearless discussions and that we do walk away and not hate each other and, you know, that it not be recorded and to be used in a court of law. So I think that, you know, if we do start recording closed meetings, we are going to be far more subdued in the debate. We're not going to be as passionate. We are going to be very wary of what we say. I don't think recording the meetings will change the behaviour that we have had over the last 4 years. Personalities are who they are. It is what it is. I think that there's a little bit of this about trying to catch people in closed meetings on codes of conducts or trying to pull people up, and I don't think that's going to allow for free and fair debate either. I think if it's about a gotcha game and doing code of conducts and getting evidence for code of conducts, again, it stifles a debate. But I am all for transparency. So I will support it to go back to the council to see whether there's merit in it, but I am concerned about it curbing those conversations and being misused.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Are there any further speakers for or against?
Just one question to clarify. So recording of workshops, and that's only to in-house of the workshop, the people that are in the workshop, and that it's not privy to. Yeah.
If any case it's eligible to.
It's not privy to, say, our community.
It's privy to the rest of the world because it's.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts.
A matter of public
Yeah,
record.
Just ask the question. Through you, Mayor.
Through you, Mayor. Local government has done meetings the same way, privately, workshops since 1983, okay? And the minute we record it, it becomes a matter of public record through the archives, okay? Which, to answer Councillor Johnson's question for you, means anyone in the world then can listen to our without breaking the law. They can listen to everything we ever discuss in this council without breaking the law, which is why I support it, but I cannot vote for it because it's illegal.
Thank you for your input. Are there any further speakers, please?
Yeah.
Any further speakers? No? Okay, I'm going to put, yes,
I'd like
you
to.
wish to close. Thank you.
I know we've got to go over the legalities of it and the process. It would need to be worked through. I know there was another council where they had a recommendation that they record or have someone else sit in the room. I do know that for certain. But I know we're all diverse around the table, going from Councillor Courtney's comments and Councillor Roberts. Yes, we can have healthy, respectful debate, look at it as a reset. And even if it comes back that you can't, I think just holding people like more accountable, and even if no findings, it will make, it can make people more accountable. So.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. You've already spoken.
Ask a question through you though.
Right ahead. A question.
Okay, question. May you please let the councillors know that I think they've just spoken about that very, very well. And even though I said I was going to vote against it because I have to, right, I will vote with them should that be what they're doing as a sign of solidarity.
That's your question, is that right?
Can you tell them that, please?
I think they heard it. Thank you very much. That was just a little bit underhanded. Okay, so I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. 8.6, Councillor Edwards, Road Safety Working Group, if you would like to propose that motion.
Yes, do I read the motion out first before I get a seconder?
And a seconder, yeah. I'm trying to get through it as quickly as possible by the look of it. Okay, Councillor Courtney seconded.
Yes, my motion is that council officers investigate the potential to partner with Circular Head Council Group, CRISP, Circular Head Road Safety Partnership Group, or to establish a road safety working group and report back to council. So, yeah, when you look at Circular Head, they always seem to be doing things so well in road safety, in that road safety space. I think we've got a lot to learn from them in their advocating, bringing awareness, the programs and the funding that they get. I attended a meeting down there, and just the information and that they brought to the table, what they're doing. There was SES police, bus drivers, community people, and it was a whole wealth of knowledge, and I really feel that we can either partner with them or, you know, partner with them for a small while, and then we can, you know, either go out on our own. But I think we all need to do so much with road safety and bringing awareness and advocacy. Yeah, we do need to, talk, because people do suffer from like road accidents, trauma, death, as we all know, around the table. So I think the more that we can advocate and bring things to our community, our region, it becomes a better conversation in this space. But I think it would be great to jump on it because, yeah, what they do is fantastic down there. And if we can adopt anything of what they do or partner with them, it would be like, how can we not? We've got an MOU with the Sarah Group, and that's our space to advocate for road safety initiatives, and we just need to do more in that space.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Edwards. Are there any speakers against the motion?
Thank you. Mayor, don't you? I've got a question for you, and maybe Daniel, our director, can pick up on it as well. I thought some years ago we had a group like this regarding the police, maybe Mike Dixon from RACT, and 2 or 3 other things that used to meet. It's going back a fair while now. We seem to give these things and then they fall off the perch for some reason. I don't know why. Well, like, I haven't got a problem with Councillor Edwards' idea at all, but we had it all once, and for some unknown reason, it goes. And that might be my fault being a councillor too, letting it go. It might be. So I reckon it would be very minimal cost to us, I would think, as a council, to get the RACT, or a bus driver or two, a taxi driver, the police and all that sort of thing, and just see what we can do and get some ideas off Circular Head how they run theirs, and anything that can improve road safety is a damn good idea to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bromwich. I can tell you about that previous group. I did chair it for 5 years until it got to a point where we could not continue without support from other councils. Not councillors. Councillors were fine, but there were councillors on that committee, but there were also Tas Fire Service, the police, all of the emergency services, and also the groups like mental health, you name it, anything that impacts on someone's ability to live a good life or feel safe and comfortable. So we ended up having to end that relationship that we did have with all of those groups. It was a fabulous way to learn about our whole community because they all came with their own perspectives and they contributed that information so that everybody knew what was going on and what was available, and that was really important. It wasn't quite just road safety. However, you are correct. We do need to consider what can be established.
Well, thanks very much for sharing that, because I feel pretty good now, because at one stage I thought I might have been dead dreaming.
No, you weren't
There we
dreaming.
are.
No,
We
you
got
weren't
there.
dreaming.
It really happened.
Okay, so
I just want to speak.
Councillor Johnson.
I just want to speak for the motion, but we have now got to educate our community, and when we go further on in the meeting, every road speed limit that we tried to slow down has got a no against it. These are our rural roads that people drive on every day, and yet our community still want to stick to the speed limit, which these roads and the speed limit of these roads is dangerous, especially rural roads. So the community really need to have a good hard look at themselves and thinking, no lives, is better than one life. And that's all I'd like to say.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Are there any speakers against the motion? Any further speakers? Beg your pardon?
I'd like to speak for it. Sorry, if I
Councillor Rawl, please go right ahead.
Look, I'd like to speak for it for many obvious reasons. But in it, the wording says that it's working together to promote safe road usage and responsibility. And I think your biggest leverage point is with children and youth. So if the group does go ahead, I would love to see that they have a child and youth brief, and working in partnership with schools, and even those schools are very, very busy with their curriculum, and I'd hate to see you walking in and trying to promote big sessions. I think there's a place to work with schools, talking to kids about these sorts of things and providing them with packages or things to do that focus on road safety and things like that. So a child and youth focus would be great.
Thank you, Councillor Rawl. Are there any further speakers?
I'll just say, look, there's 100% agree with you, 100%. Myself, in regards to what, through you, Mayor, Councillor Branch, what you said, we did have that group. I remember when I was involved with Drive and Big Art, and we did road safety for years, and that group was around then, and they were an absolutely invaluable source of knowledge as well. Now, I find this too, where we've seen with the state government, they went down that little space of police, fire and emergency and sort of as a hub now, and obviously they've developed in that space. Now, the new councillors, I'm happy to move there, happy to support this, but with the new council coming in, there's also the marine safety aspect of it. I was talking to someone about it the other day, just the amount of drownings we've had and the issues on the water, the amount of automotive accidents we have, etc. So it would be really good if we perhaps could look as a council, and this is where I'm foreshadowing something for the next council to decide, to get, say, the head of neighbourhood watch officer Edwards and get the actual marine rescue people in, or the yacht club people, and actually get the forensic police like we used to. The crash investigators used to come and speak with different people at council and educate us. And if we could perhaps get one standing group that would actually deal with these things, perhaps we could issue it as a portfolio item for a few of the next lot of councillors to come through, so that they can come back like the Waratah Community Board or like anything and report to us about what's happening at Neighbourhood Watch, what's happening with the Circular Head Road Safety Group, and what's happening in the different spaces, perhaps potentially with some issues in town with crime or safety. And if we could have one all-encompassing group, that would save us having, say, potentially 5 as they come across in the next term for councillors. So I support it wholeheartedly. I see the potential for this to grow into something even bigger involving other safety, such as water safety and different things. And I absolutely think it's a great idea, and we should definitely support it.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion? If not, I'll put the motion. No, Councillor Courtney's not here. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Geez, I feel awkward. Everyone's Thank you, Councillor Courtney. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. We are now moving on to item 9, reports of officers and committees. Capital Works Budget Amendments 2026 to 27. The recommendation is that Council adopts the proposed Capital Works Budget Amendment carry forwards totalling $816,796 as presented. Adopts the proposed capital budget amendments totalling $989,968 as presented, and adopts the revised estimated financial statements for the year ended 30th of June 2027, replacing the statements adopted in the annual plan and budget estimates on 22 June 2026. Could I please have a mover for that motion? Councillor Raw has moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Courtney. Councillor Raw, do you wish to open the debate?
Yeah, look, the notes make it perfectly clear that it's perfect, it's the way to work, and it had to be done this way. No worries in adjusting those figures because the original budget is a guess and these are the actual figures, so thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers to this motion?
Well,
please?
just
Councillor
briefly,
Bramage.
as most of you at the top end of the table would know, I'm not in favour of carryovers, but there's not much we can do about it, I guess. That's something we're going to have to live with forever and a day, I would think, with getting work done, getting contractors when we do. So I think it's just a day we've got to have yeah.
You do,
So
thank you.
don't worry, I won't be here next year to say anything about it. Sorry.
You're not coming in, Councillor Bramage. Thank you, Councillor Bramage. Are there any speakers against this motion, please? Any further speakers for the motion? If not, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Moving on to item 9.2, Camp Creek Master Plan 2026 for adoption. The recommendation is that Council adopts the Camp Creek Master Plan 2026 and endorse the associated delivery plan. Could I have a mover? Deputy Mayor Edwards has moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Johnson. Deputy Mayor Edwards, would you like to open the debate, please?
Yeah, just reading the report. There's a consistent theme, long-term management of Camp Creek in their restoration focus approach, revegetation and improved riparian management protection. Stakeholders want ecological protection, so the framework would guide future management and restoration to the Camp Creek corridor.
Thank you. Are there any speakers against this motion? Speakers for the motion?
Yes, I'd just like to say it's great to see the feedback that came from the public and the depth in the feedback. It's great to see everybody really engaging and wanting to look after our Camp Creek area.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Raw. That is a positive. If there are no further speakers, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Item 9.3, award tender replacement of 2 tandem drive tippers. The recommendation is the council award the tender submission for replacement of 2 tandem drive tippers from Motors Webster Volvo FM.6.
So moved.
Councillor Bramage has moved.
Seconded.
Councillor Roberts seconded. Councillor Bramage, would you like to open
Yeah,
the...
thanks, that'd be good. Well, I guess this is the last time I'll be involved in something like this, and that's why I jumped in. And I think it'll probably be a good move. I know nothing will happen till July next year. That's because of our budget and that sort of thing. But I reckon we'll be surprised how much we save on fuel with these trucks compared to what we got now. I reckon it'll be a massive saving. I'm not an expert, but I do believe there'll be a massive saving. And I say, well done, Daniel.
Thank you, Councillor Bramage. I'm sure while you say you're not an expert, you do have some knowledge. In fact,
I'll make a lot up though.
Oh, okay. Right. Thank you for that. Are there any speakers against this motion, please? You want to speak against the motion?
No.
Okay. So moving on
I'll
to
speak for.
speaking for the motion, Councillor Johnson.
No, I was just wondering, curiosity, is there any chance that we can get Councillor Bramage in there to turn the key over for the first time when they do come? So, you know.
Queensland to get them, mate.
Or drop a bottle of champagne over the bonnet, mate. So, you know, I was just wondering if we could do that.
I took mate for a pie out of East Wynyard.
Councillor Bramage and Councillor Johnson. Yes, Councillor Roberts.
Through you, Mayor, I actually think as much as that is a bit of humour, I think that is actually a tremendous idea. And I think in recognition of the years of Councillor Bramage's service, and especially, and I've told people this, I do all the time, that Councillor Bramage is and Councillor Hind was as well, very knowledgeable about so much of the roadside verge, the trucks, the tippers, everything. And the amount we even discuss such items for purchase through asset acquisition is surprising, and it has been tremendously helpful. So I would absolutely love it if we could formally invite Councillor Bramage to be, not only to turn the key over, probably be the first one from Waratah Wynyard Council to drive them brand new trucks, if that's okay. Thank you very much.
Councillor Roberts. We shall notate that. Thank you. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Against? Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. 9.4, land transfer of Wynyard Waste Transfer Station, 170 Goldie Street, Wynyard. The recommendation is that council accepts the land transfer at the Wynyard Transfer Station at 170 Goldie Street, Wynyard, from the Crown under Section 12 of Crown Lands Act 1976. Could I have a mover for this motion, please? Deputy Mayor Edwards. Could I have a seconder, Councillor Roberts? Deputy Mayor Edwards, would you like to speak to this motion?
Yeah, this is just taking this land from Crown Land to Waratah Wynyard owned land through this process. Waratah Wynyard Council has leased it for more than 30 years, and it does not increase the operational responsibilities, and Council can now make improvements or plan better for the future if they need to. So I think it's a good thing.
Thank you. Are there any speakers against this motion? Councillor Roberts, you're wishing to have input.
Yes, I would like to speak for the motion. When I was the Recreation Officer of the Council, I actually did the Crown Lands Assessment and Classification project of about 56 properties. Okay. Now, at the time, the reason the BMX track had never actually sat dormant for about 9 years was because the lease had lapsed and they were transitioning ownership of the property, and we couldn't sublet a property we never owned nor leased. Now, I want to credit the staff for this. Okay, as Deputy Mayor Edwards has just stated that we already maintain these properties. Our ratepayers spend money maintaining these properties on behalf of the Crown, and we sublet them. And for them to be transferred to our ownership adds no added operational cost, while actually increasing the value of the assets of council and the ratepayers. So this is absolutely tremendous business, and I, especially for it being the waste transfer site. And also I want to credit the staff that did this, because even though it's just a paragraph up there, the amount of work that goes into these sort of assessments and classifications is tremendous and takes a very long time. So whichever staff was behind the scenes on this, I wish to credit them as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. I guess in some ways it's a win-win for our council. Are there any further speakers to this motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. We've come to item 9.5 to 9.7 with very similar recommendations for each one of these items, and I'm going to ask that they be moved as a block recommendation. Could I have a mover for...
So moved.
Councillor Courtney has moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Rule. Is there any further discussion around these three items, please? Okay, if not, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. 9.7, hang on, what was that last one? 9.8. Proposed speed limit reduction Mount Hicks Road. The recommendation is that council receive and note the feedback received from the community on the proposal to reduce the speed limit on Mount Hicks Road from the default rule limit of 100 kilometres an hour to 80 kilometres an hour, and by an absolute majority resolved to not seek the approval of the Transport Commissioner to reduce the speed limit on Mount Hicks Road to 80 kilometres an hour. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Deputy Mayor Edwards. Seconded, Councillor Roberts. Deputy Mayor Edwards, do you wish to speak to this motion?
I just had a question with that, and noting that there was 75% of people that didn't want that to change. On the fourth dot point behind the pretty picture of the percentage there, current road formation slightly below compliance, below municipal standard 6 metres. In the future, will council look to bringing this road or the road into compliance in the future with road maintenance?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Look, every time a section is resealed, it's an opportunity to undertake minor improvements like that. So each section of sealed road receives a reseal on a 15-year cycle or thereabouts. Yep.
Thank you, Mr Summers. Are there any speakers against this motion? Further speakers for the motion? Councillor Roberts.
Look, I just actually want to go further into this as regards to the wording of the motion. Now, sometimes some limits will change and people say, why did they do that? It's because the state government told us we had to, right? So the Transport Commission told us we had to. Other places we may wish to lower the speed limit, right? But the Transport Commission will come back and tell us we can't, okay? So for the most part, we do accept it, obviously state government, but there's been a couple that we've sort of pushed back on a little bit. And, you know, I myself am happy to listen to the public about what they believe it truly should be. And the traffic impact assessments usually give us a pretty good idea of what we're looking at. So we're happy to take this one, but to be honest, we really are concerned about the roads. We really are concerned about some of the safety of these roads, the distance of some of the verges, and as Deputy Mayor was just asked, you know, are we actually, as we go, updating these to compliance? Well, the answer is yes. And so I'm really proud of the work we're doing in this space. And we potentially, if this is an issue to the public, please get back to us. And if we have to resubmit it and push back a little bit, we will. But we try and stay on the good side sometimes of the Transport Commissioner for when we do
really need to push that button. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion or against this motion? If not, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. 9.9, proposed speed reduction Village Lane. The recommendation is that Council receive and note the feedback received from the community on the proposal to reduce the speed limit on Village Lane and retain the default rural speed limit of 100 kilometres an hour on Village Lane. Could I have a mover for that motion? Councillor Roberts. Could I have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Edwards. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Look, I think there's a fine line between a council trying to do what's right for its constituents and interfering with its constituents, you know. So to be honest, if the people on that road and the people in that region that we've sought feedback from have said that they would like that default speed to stay, then I'm absolutely happy for the council to listen to them and say so. In other parts of the community, perhaps at Calder and different spots, we have asked the same question. They've come back and said, please lower the speed limit. So I think it's one thing before we go interfering with all this stuff that we really do. Even more important than the Transport Commissioner's opinion is our own constituents' opinion. So I'm happy to go with it, I'm happy to support it, and I'm happy for them to tell us what we should be doing as opposed to us telling them what we should be doing or they should be doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Bramage.
Thanks, Mayor. Well, I guess the community spoke. Simple as that. Not saying I necessarily agree with them. For the roads around, like Cooper's Lane, we dropped that back to 80. Seabrook Road back to 80. You got one over Village Lane. Can't really see much difference myself. But as I say, the community spoke. I don't have to agree, but I'll support the motion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Bramage. Are there any further speakers? Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to the motion? Against the motion? If not, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Item 9.10, proposed speed limit reduction, Inglis Street. The recommendation is that Council receive and note the feedback received from the community on the proposal to reduce the speed limit on Inglis Street from Cotton Street to the Bass Highway and not seek the approval of the Transport Commissioner to reduce the speed limit to 50 kilometres an hour. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Roberts and Councillor Johnson, seconded. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to speak to this motion?
I want to credit my fellow councillor of nearly 3 decades over there, Councillor Bramage, who just really summed it up. The community has spoken and we have listened, and whether we agree with it or not, our personal opinion doesn't matter. Our community has told us what they want, and that is our job to deliver that. So I stand by this 100%, and I'm happy for us to do what is necessary.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers, please?
Yeah,
Councillor Bramage.
I just thought it's worth. I go down the street most days and have a coffee at French Sticks Bakery. I got to cop the flack over this by people that live out that way. Whose idea was that? I said, well, it was mine to go all the way to the highway. I virtually had coffee through over me. I couldn't go for a week. I was too frightened. Anyhow, we got over it. But as I say, the community spoke again. And why I went that way was we don't want too many speed limits in one road. But anyhow, leave it like it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bramage, for being open about the abuse that you received.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, are there any further speakers? Councillor Raw.
Look, I've waited to this one because they're all so similar to have some comment about it. The thing that I really worry about is that the Transport Commissioner has an overriding view on these things, and he has that because he's the decision maker and he's the one with all the knowledge. And so I find it interesting that we are asking for a lot of changes in speed limits. And so I think what worries me in it is consistency, and how can we remain consistent with this sort of thing? Because when we're out and about driving, you've got to look at all the signs to know, and maybe people aren't that good at looking at signs, so they need to understand that there is some consistency there. The English Street one, where we changed it, the specific request was that went to 50 to Wilkinson Street, and then it was changed and went to the Bass Highway. Now, I went out and drove from the Bass Highway, and 50 is very slow along there. But it was a specific request from the factory because of the trucks coming out onto the road. And now this one's going back to Cotton Street. So I'd like to see this one come up again, and that 50 does go to Wilkinson Street because of the request of the trucks, and that is a viable request. But we're talking about, the community have said and given us information. Well, the first three, we did change them when the community said not to change them. And then the last three, we have fitted in more with what community have said. So what I'd like to see is, and I've chatted to Mr. Summers, that in the budget there's money for a transport strategy. And so a lot of work will be done on developing that strategy. And I'd like to see an overall evaluation of speed limits that we have changed for consistency, so we get a picture of what we're actually doing and what we have done, because we're doing it bit by bit. And maybe it's time to look at all our roads and look at all our roads with consistency in mind and think, now, is this a bit of an anomaly here or is this an anomaly there? Because if we had changed the Bass Highway out here to 50, the Bass Highway right on the other side, out where I live, that's 60. So another anomaly that I see is that Dodgen Street is 60, but other places we've got 50. And to me, Dodgen Street is highly populated, lots of houses. So I'd just like to ask that maybe we do concentrate on being consistent, and maybe spending or doing a lot of work on getting this picture up for us so we can see what's actually happening, and have that rather as a predictive plan rather than a reactive plan when we have people come to us and say we want our speed limit lowered or whatever it is. So I just put it in this last one. I could have said it in the first one. I chose to do it in the last one. So.
Thank you, Councillor Raw. Are there any further speakers?
I've got a question, if I may. Through to Daniel, Director. Have we got an audit that goes around and reviews all that sort of stuff, do we?
Through you, Mayor.
Thank you.
We did a rural sealed road safety audit, which is non-specific to speed limit. It's all facets of the rural roads. We haven't done something similar for urban roads. Right. So, as you know, potential for crash can occur on any of those roads. The transport strategy would be overarching and cover all. Yep. So.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers to this? Councillor Gordon.
Can I just note that those first couple of motions, we didn't decide, we're actually sending it back to the Transport Minister to get approval. So we didn't just make that decision, we are seeking approval from the Transport Minister, getting the proper advice.
Any other speakers? Beg your pardon?
I'll close.
We'll go right ahead and close the debate.
All right, so in this process, what we do, as the council, we don't just randomly decide what limit the speed limit is. That is the state government's job. All right, so the roads typically, whilst we do maintain them inside the town boundaries, they're actually a state government outside, and typically, right? So what happens is, for us to change the speed limit, we need to do a traffic impact assessment first. We also need to do a safety audit, right? So there have been actual places we really want to change the speed limit, but when the traffic impact assessment was done, it said in the last 10 years we've had 0 accidents, we've caught 0 people speeding,
All right, and so once we present this, now it's actually the Transport Commission and the Transport Commissioner themselves that decide these things. We don't decide them at all. We can only put forward the submission that potentially we should be changing this road and for these reasons. And quite often they write back to us and just say, look, on your traffic impact assessment, you've had no accidents, no, right? So I just heard a comment from the gallery before about, in response to Councillor Bramich's comment about how that person can see the difference between Village Lane, and because one goes straight in, and I completely agree. So whilst the government from the outside might look and see why is this different, or the public might say why is this different, one of them roads might be much safer to drive on than the other, which is why the speed limit is different. And in regards to the 50 and the 60, the standard Tasmanian speed limit used to be 60 kilometres, right? They changed it to 50 kilometres, and then they stated that the law is 50 kilometres unless otherwise signed. So that is what that means. It means if you can't see any signs, you're meant to be doing 50. All right, so there it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion?
That's closed.
Oh, sorry, yes, that you're quite right. That was closing the debate. Okay, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. 9.11 Quarterly Report Infrastructure and Development Services. The recommendation is that Council notes the Quarterly Information Report for the Infrastructure and Development Services Department as of 31st of July 2026, notes the attached Waratah Wynyard Council Corporate Emissions Inventory Report FY24/25 and determines to revise Council's current net zero by 2030 target with an evidence-based emissions reduction target and pathway to be developed following improvements in emissions data quality and reported back to Council.
So moved.
Councillor Courtney has moved and seconded Councillor Roberts. Councillor Courtney.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Mr Summers, my understanding is that our emissions have actually gone up because we're being more honest in the subcontractors and being included in our emissions. So it's not necessarily that our emissions went back, correct me if I'm wrong, that's because we're being more comprehensive in our reporting.
Yeah, through you, Mayor, that's absolutely correct. A more thorough assessment this time, and one that relies upon some coarser measures, whereas a more accurate data capture might rein that in a little bit.
So this is actually in the interest of us being more transparent.
Yeah. Thank you for identifying that, Councillor Courtney. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Roberts.
Again, I want to do something similar. Also considering this could be any of our last meeting as councillors, I want to thank the infrastructure and development team, really. I really especially want to thank our Director of Infrastructure and Development Services, Dan Summers. You know, Dan Summers is an absolute tremendous asset to this council. He's local, and it's one of our proudest achievements, really, I feel, as a council, to have someone who is a director that is a local, that performs so well and does such an amazing job. I always speak incredibly highly of the work that Mr Summers does, and not just Mr Summers, but also his department, Mr Goulding, Mr Gould, and just the whole depot guys as well, and the engineering and infrastructure and development and the development services as well. A lot of what we do, as we've talked about traditionally, is rates, roads and rubbish and all these things. Now, so much of what we do is infrastructure and development. So this sphere is massive. We have 8,332 square kilometres of just infrastructure, and for one man to be the director of it's a massive job. And I just want on record, in case I'm not here, is that I really thank Mr Summers for everything he does for this council. He's a tremendous asset to this council, and he's an unsung hero of this council that does a great work, provides us all with great advice and understanding. So it really is the staff that make us look good as councillors. It's the staff that advise us. They are the great professionals, and we owe them a debt of gratitude for the work they do behind the scenes. All right, so thank you all, and I just wanted to take this for a second because in 4 years we've got to credit Dan. Thank you, Mr Summers, and thank you all.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts, for your fulsome praise of staff. Are there any further speakers? Deputy Mayor Edwards.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up in the quarterly report that council is still supporting the cat desexing program. There were 73 cats done, 41 female, 32 male. Council is helping in this space for those having financial hardship to, and that'll reduce hopefully the unwanted litters and keeping the population down.
With that, are there any further speakers? Councillor Brown.
Thank you. Mayor, on page 87, don't know what it is on your iPads. I don't expect any comment tonight, but for my curiosity, I'd be interested to know what the electric Hilux was like as a demo and the new John Deere grader was demoed compared to the cat grader for when you guys around the table have got to buy a new one. Just be interested to have that.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Councillor Ramage. Okay. Are there any further speakers for this motion? Speakers against? If not, I will put the motion. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. 9.12 Cemetery Strategy Update. The recommendation is that Council receive and note the Cemetery Strategy Update report. Note the progress made towards implementation of the Cemetery Strategy and the planned actions for the coming year. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Courtney. And seconder is Councillor Johnson. Councillor Courtney, would you like to open the debate on this?
Oh, no debate. I'm grateful for the staff at looking at alternative burials because we're going to run out of land.
Actually, Councillor Courtney, I thought you were going to be grateful because we have a cemetery.
No, I want to be pushed out in a boat and set on fire, so.
Been watching too much television. Thank you for your comments. Are there any further comments about this strategy update, please?
Supported, 100%. Look, I just want to credit the work of the community department, Bronwyn Fold, and everyone that does this work. We've seen it, we've gone through it, we've learnt a lot about different types of burials in the past, and when it comes back, we've discussed it, we'll adopt it, and I'm sure it'll come back with further. We changed the interments, we looked at the ways we can bury them, we looked at liquefying people and all kinds of stupefying stuff. So I feel like we're all better for it, and let's move on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers for this motion? Speakers against? I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. 9.13 Cradle Coast Waste Management Group 2025-26. Household hazardous waste collection events. Recommendation that Council notes the results of the annual household hazardous waste collection conducted as part of the Cradle Coast Waste Management Group activities. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Roberts has moved. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Courtney, Councillor Roberts, do you wish to open any debate around this item?
Look, just really in the conclusion, it says it all that the council note the success of the region's 25-26 annual household hazardous waste collection and continue to promote the service as a valuable and necessary diversion opportunity to protect the natural environment and values. Okay, so I swear in 4 years the thing I've talked about the most is probably the Cradle Coast Waste Management Group. All right. Talk more about FOGO than probably near anything. I get asked more questions about the bins than anything, and what day it is, and what bin it is, and what colour lid it is. And to be honest, it's pretty complex stuff that we've had a lot of workshops about. We've had different things. Now, this bit, the pointy end, is where we start to see some of the benefits. Now, I explained that one of the big costs and one of the big reasons for our $366,000 shortfall is, I reckon it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, we used to pay $0 per metric tonne of waste, right? Now, the government has raised that. I don't know what it is currently through you, Mr. Summers. How much is it a tonne?
Through the Mayor, I'll bounce off the Chief Financial Officer, I think it's in the order of about $70 per tonne is the levy.
$70 per tonne. So we've gone from paying $0 a tonne for waste to paying $70 a tonne. Now, the number in the auditude is like something stupid, like 400,000 metric tonnes of waste a year or something, or 40,000. So amongst all the councils. So to be honest, going in together is the best part. This bit where we start to statistically see the hazardous materials that are coming out of landfill, and we're talking about our eco goals and different things, and we're starting to actually see the benefits of removing things. People used to throw batteries just in the rubbish, or people now, because of the way FOGO is set up, that one battery will contaminate a whole bin. So the way people are sorting now shows great progress towards a cleaner, greener future, and that's where it starts. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion, please? If not, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Item 9.14. 2025-26 contamination bin checks and strike system commencement. The recommendation is that Council notes the outcomes of the 2025-26 curbside bin check program and continued education and behaviour change initiatives targeting common contamination items, and the implementation of the contamination strike system commencing the 1st of July 2026 as part of the broader contamination management program. Councillor Courtney has moved that. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Roy actually had. So, Councillor Courtney, would you like to open discussion on this?
Look, I actually think this is a good thing, because we've got FOGO being put through at 93% pass rate. We've got recycling being put through at 87% pass rate. So it's such a small group of people, and they've given 4 opportunities. So I think it's fair and reasonable, and having a strong union delegate background, that's fair and reasonable. So, you know, we've got 97% of people doing the right thing. That 3% get four warnings before they get it withheld from them. So I think that's fair. Yeah, so I'm happy to support it. It's going to encourage better behaviour and less contamination, which is less cost for us and the residents.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Are there any further speakers? Councillor O'Rourke.
Yes, I think I agree with Councillor Courtney, and also to 3 or 4 strikes. They have education as well, so the people working with them talk to them about what's needed. So there is plenty of education and opportunity to come on board.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Roberts.
I want to say something real quick, is that quite often when these things come up, people think something negative. They see this, so they think that we're doing this because everyone's out of control and something's bad. It's actually the opposite. 9.7 out of 10 people, for all the complaints about FOGO and all the complaints about everything, are actually doing the right thing. I'll say that again. 9.7 out of 10. That's incredible. That's amazing. You wouldn't actually see. That's an uptake too. So normally it takes years of consistency to achieve result, whereas this is on the uptake. People have started doing this immediately. So absolutely great strategy. I think turn the screws now and actually sort of push 10 out of 10 people to be doing this, so that when our lords and overlords come and look into our bins and see what we're doing, we won't be getting fined. And we can clearly show that we have gone to the umpteenth degree and done everything that has been asked of us in this space. Now, this seems to be the rubbish, etc. You know, it's a logistical thing. But this ties into our carbon credits. This ties into how we operate as a greener and cleaner council. When you do this, you promote that, you do FOGO, you get the electric Hilux, you build the EV charging stations, you put in the HVAC system for the staff, and all of a sudden we've met the targets, we've met the requirements. And it shows the strategy and delivery of this council that people will be rolling this out for years, and we're already at 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Bramage.
I guess I'm just curious of how much contamination has got to be in the load before it's determined to be landfill.
Through you, Mayor. If one tiny thing...
Councillor Bramage, would you continue?
Sorry, Neil, I can't help it. But, Gary, how much contamination to destroy a load of FOGO or recycling? Because I notice here we've got to pay $720 extra if there is. How much is there, and how do we how does Dalton determine it? Well, I don't expect any. If you can, then you'll be good.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Look,
Mr. Summers.
thanks through Mayor. I'll talk to FOGO specifically. It doesn't take much at all to contaminate an entire truck, and they go to a fair level of effort with cameras and the like to detect that. So yeah, any foreign material can disqualify the use of a truckload, essentially.
So would we know in the last 12 months how much extra we've had to pay? Or
I don't have data. I've got for the region. It was about $700,000 of material that had to go to landfill instead of FOGO. So that's the impetus for why they're trying to see better behaviour to try and reduce that extra cost. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
For that alarming bit of information, Mr. Summers. Okay, are there any further speakers to this motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. 9.15 Financial Report for the period ended 31 July 2026. The recommendation is that Council note the financial report for the period ended 31 July 2026. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Roberts has moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Courtney. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to
I do.
speak to this motion?
I'm about to do the exact same thing as I did with infrastructure and development, okay? I really, really encourage every time I speak on this, every time, move it every time for 4 years. I encourage everyone to actually read the financial reports. We get asked so many questions as councillors that are just publicly available information. I mean, if that's our job, we may as well not be here because they can read it online, can't they? But as we stated before about the finances in regards to, you know, the discount or anything, right? We spend hours going over our finances. We spend hours pouring through financial spreadsheets. We spend hours going through our financial management strategy. And I'll put it forward that we are absolutely managed by the best finance department in local government in Tasmania. For us to be a regional council, people look at us as if we're a small council, but this will be, I believe, our 10th straight year of surplus. Okay, only six of the 29 councils in Tasmania are even financially solvent, and we have made 10 straight years of surplus whilst delivering on every project, every single one. And that is unheard of in this country in local government, right? We are incredibly fortunate to have Mitch Smith as our Director of Finance. Not just himself, but the team that works with him. You know, I'd love to mention them all, but young Nathan Cox being one is absolutely tremendous. And the way they explain the finances to people that don't come from a corporate finance background, I'm very lucky that I come from a corporate background and community background and organisational background. So, but the way Mr. Smith actually describes and the dialogue we have with Mr. Smith is tremendous. So it's not just his financial acumen, but his ability to translate that to us and explain it to us as councillors. And I want to credit them. In the street, I'd love to take all the credit and say I did this and that, but I can't. Because it's the hard work of the people sitting up there that make us look so good. And I cannot thank all of them enough during my time on council for the work that they have done. And I really appreciate the advice. I appreciate the knowledge and the expertise and the time that you shared with us, not just in the workshops and the meetings, the little phone calls, the little visits, just to ask those clarifying questions. You've always been so welcoming to us, and we thank you tremendously for it. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Not too much, you want to pay rise.
Yeah, but not that much, Councillor Ramage.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Ramage, did you have any further to add, Councillor Ramage? Did you have anything?
No, I was saying if someone's trying to poach Mitch, we should pay it too.
Okay, are there any further speakers to this motion, please? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. 9.16 Senior Management Report. Recommendation that Council notes the Senior Management Report.
So moved.
Councillor Courtney has moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Johnson. Councillor Courtney, do you wish to speak?
I don't need to speak to it. I will ask through yourself, Madam Mayor. Mr. Arnold, have you had a chance or have you previously met Mr. Crawford from the Burnie CEO?
Through you, Mayor. Yes, Councillor. I have known Mr. Crawford for a number of years.
Have you? Fantastic. That's good news because I would really like us to work closer with the Burnie City Council moving forward for some regional projects. So that's excellent.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Any further speakers to this motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Item 10, matters proposed for consideration in the closed meeting. The recommendation is that the Council resolves by an absolute majority that the matters listed below be considered in the closed meeting. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Roberts. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Johnson. Yep. The motion, all those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Item 11, closure of the meeting to the public. The recommendation is that Council resolves by an absolute majority to go into the closed meeting to consider the following matters. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Roberts.
Second.
Sorry, who was the seconder? Councillor Courtney. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Okay. Thank you.